It may be the end of summer, but we're just getting started here. Hello and welcome to The House That Happens, recorded live at Chewy's Bar and Grill every weekend from Etobicoke, Ontario. I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, I'm Cruz.
Cruz, how you doing? You've been away for a few weeks.
I'm telling you this, I did my annual decompression. I like to tell people like that because you know what I mean? We spend so much time going to work, the stress of work, the travel, keeping your family together, slapping your, I didn't mean that, taking care of the family. In any event, yeah, I was up in the Muskoka way for actually 16 nights, and it turned out to be a lot of fun on a various amount of reasons, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Number one was trying to keep my dog under control. Bring up a 10-month-old golden doodle with no training, and you do a lot of running. I did a lot of running. He scared some people because, you know, there's nothing worse than seeing a big dog come running at you.
Yeah.
So a couple of times my dog got away. But the great thing about my dog is, and he proved it in the last 16 days, non-aggressive, non-allergenic, non-shedding. Everybody wants one.
Oh, well, Stanley, he's a good boy. He's just the cutest. So.
He got away with murder. If I had a cute for Stanley, for a beer for every time I heard cute, I would be alcoholic, which maybe some people say I've had issues about that because I did drink a few while I was away.
Well, you were in Muskoka, when in Rome, right?
Exactly. The weather was good. The clouds were thick, and I loved the trees. I talked to them all the time. But I was up at a place resort. It's called the Lantern Bay Resort. I would say it's, get my directions straight, it's a good 20, 25 kilometers west, but I think it's a little north of Gravenhurst, somewhere in the middle of the place. I don't even remember the lake that we're on. I want to give a big shout out to Mike and Andrea, whose place we have now been able to inhabit for my decompression for the last 8 years. Big shout out to them. They live in Taiwan, by the way.
Okay.
They're teachers in Taiwan. And they come here, they've got that's their decompression for a couple months. We left the place better than we could because they have a great spot. They do a great thing. I want to shout out to his two kids, too. He's got a son named Ty and I think a son named Caden. But Ty, I told your dad, I gave him the connection. You're 16 years old, and I want to let you know, I heard 3 16-year-old girls talking about you. Andrew, have you been in a room with 3 16-year-old girls and hear them talk?
Not since I was in high school.
Okay, there you go. So I was at it one particular morning. When I turned around and heard them talking, actually, I did not understand some of the things they were talking about.
Oh, I bet.
Way over my head. What'd you just say? What's that? Papa, get out of here. You have no idea. And I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But it was really, really cool because he was there for most of the time because my big shout out to Amanda and Bruce, who we hung out with all weekend, and they have a very significant job because they work in the corrections industry.
Okay.
So they came up and they decompressed, and their daughter Abby, who hung out with Pepper all the time, it was just a super fantastic time with all these people. But Andrew, you know what happens when you go up north and you get up there? There's a variety of people that really like sports.
I bet.
Okay. So before I get started here, there's a little story I have to tell you about because when you get up north, This you're right. Hockey's 365 days a year, not in this city, in this province,
in this country. Okay. In this country, let's be real.
So, anyways, we've had various discussions about a variety of sporting things, which we're going to get into today. But one of the things comes up with these goddamn Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay,
you watch your language.
Okay, I'll try not to do that. First of all, I just want Andrew. How do you feel about the? We got to bring this up. The Auston Matthews contract.
I love it.
Really?
Yeah, the great the value of the contract,
value is good.
13.25. It's the same cap percentage as his last contract, which a lot of people probably don't know.
Well, I knew you would because I say you're a cap specialist here. That's that happens.
Well, I'm not quite Brendan Purdom, but
okay. Well, you're on your way.
I mean, it's 4 more years of one of the top 5 players on the planet. How can you not like that?
And I think, too, that if Gary Bettman undoes his tight shorts and we get the salary cap increases.
We're hoping for a little bit of a bump next year, but
I heard it should be $9 million in the next 2 years. That's all you read. I don't believe it.
9.5.
$9.5.
Yeah, that's on the street.
I don't believe that. Do you?
Well, apparently the players already paid off their debt, but just like the bean counters are taking a while to get that sorted. So, I mean, if that's true, like the players, like by October, this should all be settled. So, like by day 1 of the season.
Does that mean Nylander signed by day 1?
No, not necessarily.
I don't think so.
Those are 2 completely different issues.
Okay, so in what respect? Okay, so here's what the word around the campfire is, and it's come to fruition. Matthews was not going to sign for 8 years.
No, we knew that early on.
Okay, so we knew
3 to 5 years was the
thing. Okay,
range, yeah.
okay, so because then he can run back to Arizona or whatever he wants to do, and he makes.
No, he's going to come back to Toronto.
That's wishful thinking. I'm happy for
if
you.
if he knows what's good for his career, he's going to stay with the Leafs.
Do we do a comedy portion on this show? Is that the comedy portion? In any event, I heard that the problem with Nylander is they want him to stay for 8 years. I heard that's a sticking point.
Really?
That's what I heard. A couple people up there. That
I've heard it's the cap hit. That's a lot of the insiders are saying it's the cap hit.
Well, it's got to be a little bit of both, and they don't know because now you sound both.
Well, I mean, those issues are tied. Let's be real.
Oh yeah. I agree, but I mean, you got to make a decision on this. Like, you're going to still go with that, which I'm going to get up to in a minute, because how fans look at the game is and their
fans are disciples.
I like disciples better, but the bottom line is that if you look at it back here in the playoffs, Nylander was definitely one of their best players.
Agreed.
And as you alluded to before the show, he seems to have gotten a little bit bigger.
Yes, he's looking much thicker as per Elliot Friedman. Then you see some of the pictures on Instagram where you're like, okay, he's bulked up a little bit. He's got that big hockey butt, you know? And
not only that, he didn't get a haircut. He didn't get a haircut, so he still got the rock star flair.
Of course,
it's all good.
I wouldn't expect any different.
No, and there's a variety of things that came up about the Leafs too. Like, we were over there. Like, imagine sitting around a campfire, and there's like 8 or 9 people there, and 7 of them are sports fanatics, and the conversation somehow revolves around the Toronto Maple Leafs in August of 2023.
Now, I like what the 2 guys who aren't sports fanatics, are they just like hating their life around the campfire?
No, there's a lot of weed. There's a lot of weed. So it didn't really matter. In any event, there was a variety of reasons. Like, people come up with theories. Like, I threw out there, my theory, if you're going to build a team now, go with the 6 defensemen.
Yep.
That seemed to be something that slid. But the third most important player, or the first most important player on the Toronto Maple Leafs, however you want to phrase it, is Mr. Mitch Marner, who I have now believe is a lightning bolt in this city when you want to talk about the situation of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Don't you agree?
Yeah, he's quickly become a divisive player.
He's a whipping boy most days.
Yeah.
I've heard this. So in any event, and remember always this, on The House That Happens, we keep tabs on the Habs. I think one of my final statements is I said, well, you got that much problem with Mitch Marner, I'll pick him up at the airport and drive him to the Bell Center. I don't have an issue.
That's rich.
I'm just saying. So here was the argument. We talked about why the Leafs made the playoffs, and they didn't. We talked about their defensive problems. Another thing is, everyone's like you. They're glad that Justin Hall's left town. Nobody's bitching about that.
And no Red Wings fan is happy that he's in town.
We're not going to go there. So, as you are a friend, Mr. Milani, help me out with this. Here's how the argument went. We discussed what the value of a Mitch Marner was, and everybody was basically calling him a little bitch. And I said the problem was they brought in Reeves, they brought in Domi, and they got McGarry. I said the problem... Bertuzzi, exactly. I said, he should fight back. First of all, he's not a fighter. You're going to ask a Nylander to fight back? Nobody asked Nylander to fight back. So now you're going to give Mitch Marner, because what people are saying is, and this really caught me off guard, he did play very high-end hockey in Toronto. They snuck him onto the London Knights. So people were trying to tell me he's bad in the dressing room, he's spoiled, and he doesn't play, he's not good enough to play both ways on this hockey team.
Well, first of all, this bad in the dressing room stuff, that's all just hearsay. Unless you're there
100%.
in the room, you don't know shit.
Thank you.
You don't know shit. No offense to your friends that you made in Muskoka. But.
Okay, so one of his friend his name is John. And Scotty, make sure you get him to hear this. See, John played hockey. He played in the O.
Oh, we're calling him out on the air, eh?
Oh, you're damn right we are, because he thinks he created hockey. He invented the blades. He made you not wear Jaffa helmets anymore, and he can tell you how to score in a power play. Okay, so he's god of hockey. I got him. So, in our discussion about Mitch Marner, who he was dragging Mitch Marner's dick through the dirt like nobody I've ever seen.
That's a visual.
What's that?
That's a visual.
You got it. So here's my take on the matter. I had to defend Mitch Marner, bro.
Oh my God, what is coming to this world?
What? I looked up at the sky. It was that night with the crazy moon.
The blue moon?
And we were up in Muskoka. I'll show you the pictures. The moon I was so glad to be in Muskoka. So maybe the moon, if the moon moves lakes, what does it do to people retaining water? Okay, so maybe he had a lot of beer in him. The discussion ended like this, Mr. Milani. You tell me I'm wrong. His final thing about bashing Mitch Marner is he said, when the guy learns how to play defense, then he'll be a better player. I looked across the room at.
Does he realize that Mitch Marner is one of the league leaders in breaking up other teams' passes and steals among forwards?
Secondly of all, he brought up my favorite thing, plus minus. He does not appreciate Mitch Marner's plus minus and doesn't think that he's very good defensively.
Well, I mean, plus minus is a team stat.
I let him slide. I couldn't use that against myself. I let that go over there. But the bottom line is I looked at him and I said, I would agree with you. It wasn't for the fact that there's only 3 people that are nominated for the Frank Selke Trophy. Last time I checked for the Frank Selke Trophy, that's Defensive Player of the Year, isn't it?
Okay, he was one of the finalists.
He's one of the finalists, so that means...
I mean, once the voting came out, he was a distant third, but still.
Okay, that doesn't matter. It still means that he was up there, because, I mean, the writers don't... I'm hearing the writers aren't a big fan of him either, because he puts off them that. So when I told him...
Oh, it's a baseball situation.
There you go. So, anyways, the conversation like this, I said, how can you say... a guy who was nominated for the Frank Selke Trophy, which is the best defensive forward in the league, how can you say he can't play defense? And he called me a complete idiot.
That's not nice.
No, I didn't mind. I just stopped the conversation. I just said there's no longer to continue to talk about people. And anybody out there knows me, my mouth is very big. That's why I'm doing this show with Mr. Milani. And I love to have these open debates about how teams work and all that. And I told him I can't wait that the Habs sodomizes his whole team. I didn't say nothing about his family, but his whole team and all that and stuff. No, it didn't. It didn't get angry because I stopped it. And the great thing about it is before he left, he came back over and gave me a fist pump and said, come on, Cruz, it's all good, isn't it? I said, it's all good. And I said, you're a Hamilton fan, and I hope your team gets kicked in the face today. But we'll get to that later. As he's walking around in his Hamilton hoodie, you know, that you smelled like Laker beer. Okay, I'll stop. But in any event, what do you think, Mr. Milani? If someone said to you, but how can you not give Marner a little bit of props defensively? Frank Selke guy.
That's very strange because, I mean, you look at his game, especially on the penalty kill. He's been the league's best penalty kill since, he was a sophomore.
Whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can say whatever you want about the guy being soft.
Or was he a rookie when he got penalty kill? Whenever it was.
But, I mean, don't you consider Marner a decent defensive forward?
Above average, at least.
Okay. So, Scotty, we're going to call out to you, too, because we're going to have Scotty on the show, by the way.
I'd love to have him. Scotty, come on.
He's going to be on. I don't know about the John guy, but he's, you know what I mean? Ever since that, you're an idiot. How do you have a conversation when you resort to that? Hey, you and I haven't agreed a million times. There's no reason to say anything bad about you. You know what I'm saying? In any event.
No, we love each other. It's a love fest here on the house that happens.
Of course it is. But anyways, I just want to end it on that note because everything else in Muskoka was outstanding. I think the guy's name was McCarrick that we seen in Bracebridge playing music. I'll reflect that next week. But in that time that we were up there, I could not believe, like Andrew, I'm telling you, the two things, and we'll get to this later, that really irritated me was I was the only one in any alternative gear except for the the guy with the Hamilton shirt on. But
define alternative gear.
Maybe a Detroit Lions shirt.
How's that?
I mean, Leaf, Blue Jay, all over the place. All over the place. And we'll get to this later, but the other one that irritated the shit out of me was, do you know what the third most thing I seen up in Muskoka?
Okay, let me guess.
Just a random. It
wouldn't have been Habs because that wouldn't piss you off.
Okay, that's good. There's one team in one sport, and they just, I could not believe every time I turned around, I went, is this a disease?
Green Bay Packers?
Oh, you're close. You're in the galaxy.
So either Bears or Vikings.
One more time. The Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, that's what I said afterwards. Everybody's a Cowboy fan. Hats, shirts. I seen a guy with a Dallas Cowboys shorts. Do you think I walked by these guys and said nothing? But we're going to have a football preview this Thursday. But one last note about Muskoka, which is really cool. And I don't know if it's a good omen or it's a bad omen, because you know what my job is right now with my feet moving.
Oh, yeah,
and the
bandwagon. On the heads climbing on the bandwagon.
So there's a big road, dirt road kind of, that goes through all the park. And all these trailers are there. And you get by the lake, and you get through the trees. And every day I took my dog walking through this around, and other dogs is going on. And I came by this little garden. There was something that looked Honolulu blue to me. I said, that's kind of weird. Can I get a little closer? And in the middle of the garden, he had planted a Detroit lion. I lost my shit, bro. Came out. Here's the punchline, because we'll talk about hockey later. Going to kick out of this. When the guy came out, I just happened to be wearing hey, Detroit Lion T-shirt. Oh, gee, really? I only own 75, but I mean, wearing a Detroit shirt. I'm looking at this, looking out, and the guy, a little bit older than me, jumps out and he goes, I don't see those shirts too often. And I said, defend the den, disciple. He's a 50-year fan too. Like he's 70 years old. He's a 50. We had a great Detroit Lion talk. Here is the punchline. I come by his house the next day, and he says, "Hi, how you doing? How you doing?" And he goes, "Hey man, who shit on your shirt?" I just happened to be wearing a Montreal Canadian shirt. So we had a little pause. Yeah. We had a great day, and then he kicks me in that. Who shit on your shirt, man? I thought you were my friend. Anyways, that's the end of my Muskoka dealings. It was a great time. I want to shout out to all the people that talk sports. It was just an insane sports conversation. What went on in the city sports-wise that people talked about while I was away?
I mean, a lot of Blue Jays, obviously.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Obviously the Matthews contract, which we got into a little bit before. 13.25 by 4 years, full no move clause. He will make $15.925 million on July 1st as his bonus. It's obviously it's the Leafs, so it's very bonus heavy, the contract. The highest base salary he's making is $900K. Mm-hmm. And then it's $53 million the whole contract.
That's not bad. And you know the thing
I'm not complaining.
No, like I said, when you add it in, when you look it over, we're going to have to see where it's going to go. Because one of the things that you sent to me, and I was looking around about it, and there's always, where there's smoke, there's fire, but I think it's interesting that the Leafs have already talked about, because one of the guys at Muskoka mentioned this, he goes, what if we signed Bertuzzi long term?
Yes, those whispers came this week, actually. Where
one of the guys that came up there, he came up later, he just came up this weekend, and he said, well, if you know this, did you know this is going on with Bertuzzi? And of course, you know me, you couldn't even get in touch with me, but I was surprised when I heard that already, and he hasn't even played a minute for the Toronto Maple Leafs yet.
Exactly.
You know, it caught me off guard.
Yeah, so he'll be eligible to sign that extension on January 1st. So that's going to be very interesting to see whether or not this transpires then or, sometime soon afterwards, right?
Okay, so where that could have fit in the salary cap? Because that means, you know what I think they should do? Do you gamble on Nylander?
I mean, that's the interesting part where, like, a lot of people are saying, losing him. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose him for nothing. No. But I mean, we talked about this before. Cap space, the most valuable thing in the league, correct?
You got it.
Yeah.
At the house that
but
happens,
I mean, the Leafs,
teaching that.
There's a lot of money coming off the books this year for the Leafs, especially like some dead cap, considering Jake Muzzin and Matt Murray.
That's huge.
That's going to be over $10 million between those two. So,
do you think that Matt Murray's going to play a minute in the NHL this year?
I think his career's done.
Really?
Yeah.
God bless you. God bless you. I hope he plays better. I mean, I hope he has the rest of his life is great. I just don't understand sometimes, like, how do you put it now? You're going to put him and Muzz and all these over guys, and you got to wait to see how it's going to fit into your salary cap, so to speak. That's one of the things we were talking about, too, on the weekend. A lot of things came up, and I'm glad you brought up that the number one thing in hockey is your cap space. And you're doing
100%.
You know, 100%. I'm agreeing with you more about the days go on. But I'm just saying, like, I really believe that we should go back to the argument we had before, like football. You cut the guy, he's not playing, he got his money, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah, I have a friend that actually loves that system.
Yes, I think it's great. Now, it's not always fair to players.
That's the problem.
Okay,
that's
so
the problem.
It's not, like how Dallas treated Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, exactly.
That was weird. Now he was God. He isn't going to come to camp. You give him the bag, and then you say go to hell.
Yep.
In a span of 3 seasons? Whew.
Interesting timeline, wouldn't you say?
Oh, and you know what the thing is? The reason they got away with it is because what do? They cut bait. Bye.
Yep.
And I'm saying that somewhere along the line, for the NHL to be more successful or to be able to establish a team that you can do for a long period of time, they got to start thinking about something like that.
I think the answer is more of like an NBA style cap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm with that.
And include like the bird rule and like the soft cap, hard cap. I think that would make a big difference.
I think they should have the bird rule a long time ago in the NHL.
I never understood why the NHL didn't incorporate that like a long time ago.
Well, I think your buddy Bettman had something to do with that.
Oh, he 100% had everything to do with that. He's got the small team owner in his front and back pockets.
100%. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's. I don't know. I think it's good for the game, but sometimes it's not good for the game because, as we were talking about, you build a team for your fans. Okay, it's always commerce first.
Yeah, but
always
that's the thing I don't understand because it's proven that when you have dynasties, you have these like teams that are good for a long time. That's good for ratings. It's good for the league. The NHL doesn't want that for some reason, which I don't understand.
So did we get the final ratings for the Stanley Cup final? I've never looked back. I heard
I think
they were better
came
than
out. They ended up being a little lower than we thought they were.
I thought so. That's why I brought it up. I
yeah.
heard they said it was supposed to be pretty good, but as a way, I'm going to research.
They were terrible in Canada, the ratings.
Oh,
yeah.
It was some of the worst in the years in our country. In America, I said it was okay, and ESPN kind of went.
TNT had it this year.
Oh yeah, TNT's. So ESPN's already cringing about next year. Hence the reason they're downsizing. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it all depends on who's in there. Because I mean, last year when it was Tampa Bay, Colorado, the ratings were pretty good. I thought so. There's also a rumor of a former Hab getting a professional tryout with the Leafs.
Who's that?
Thomas Tatar.
I thought that he might be going to Pittsburgh. The last I heard
Possibly.
before vacation, but so Tatar.
I mean, this is all rumor and hearsay right now, right? But
it's interesting that Dubas is connected to both teams. Was connected to both teams.
That's usually how it goes though when a GM goes to a new team, right? Because there's still like a little bit of the stuff that. The infrastructure that he set up in that old team, right? So that makes plenty of sense to me.
I personally believe Tatar would help any team.
Oh, absolutely. He's a guy like you love on your second or third line.
A third line guy and a great penalty killer.
Yep.
So I would take
Put him on the second unit power play as well.
Second unit power play. Yeah, he's got some hands. I'm very surprised.
Yeah.
He's getting a tryout with Toronto?
Apparently. I mean, there's been a bunch of guys connected. I've heard Kessel connected to Leafs.
Stop.
I don't buy that one. I've heard Patrick Kane. We know how we feel about that.
Stop it. Kane ain't playing to Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
We all know that. He's going to take a look around the league. I'm just saying, you know what? And this is what I tried to harp to people, and I'm glad you make me understand it more, which I always try to tell people. Yeah, they say, oh, Mr. Mulaney's a little younger than you. Well, anybody out in this world doesn't understand that younger people can teach older people things, and you're just not living life. So with that being said, I'm really like your sense of salary cap and defining the team. Since we've been doing this show, I look at it in a much more put it in the box and square this out kind of deal. And I've really been surprised how many not great, above average hockey players do not have a contract. And we're 2 weeks till training camp?
Yes, yeah. You look at the list of free agents on Cap Friendly.
Ooh.
And there's still, I believe, 9 RFAs out there. One of them we're gonna. Well, actually, I shouldn't say, but with Tatar,
he's unrestricted, right?
He's unrestricted, correct? Yeah, because he's well over 30. Yeah. He would be competing with Nick Robertson for that third line left wing role, and the Leafs would be able to pay him about upwards of like 1.2 mil.
That's what Tatar would get.
Let's just squeeze him under the cap. That's the max they'd be able to pay him. It's like 1.22 or something.
What did Pittsburgh offer? You know, that's probably.
I have no idea. The Pittsburgh. That's news to me. It's probably a tryout though. So like,
I just heard that before I went on vacation that Dubas was kicking his wheels.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
You know, he was taking around, but now when I'm hearing Toronto, I'm sure there's other teams that have had to take a look at the guy. He's a solid player, like you know, and I think he's right. Like 31, 32. He's not old.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I'm shocked he doesn't have a contract, to be quite honest.
It's my point being is this: the reason he doesn't have a contract, we know why. This is a flat cap year.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard was it Alan Walsh on his podcast? He's talked about it before, where he's like, I've been on the phone with players before. It's like, hey, I got this offer, and the guy's like, can I think about it? And he's like, no, like decide now, otherwise the offer's gone.
Yeah.
It's musical chairs at its most purest, right?
Oh, I agree. But like I said, I hope that maybe Tatar gets to Montreal. Everything that way. No. I think
he wants to play for.
We're going to be a contender, but we're not now.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, so I'm just going to be that nice about it.
Out of all UFAs, Tatar had the second. Of the UFAs that are left, he had the second highest amount of points last year.
Who's the highest that's left?
Patrick Kane.
Yeah, Kane. I forgot.
And then Kessel was third, although he didn't have a great season.
He only played 60 games, though, Kessel, didn't he?
No, he played all 82. He kept that Ironman streak alive.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You know what I think about the Ironman streak? Sometimes it's overblown. I think it's amazing, but overblown, because sometimes maybe the guy should be sitting.
So, I mean, Kessel talked about that. He's open to, ending the Ironman streak, which, I mean, that's the smart move for his career, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, and he's what, 33 now?
35.
35. Oh, yep. We get a little long.
He's the same age as Crosby.
That's right. Yep. They came in the same year.
Well, he was the year after, because I believe he was born after the cutoff, but...
Oh, yeah, I got you. Can I... one thing about we were talking about it. Do you think it's a last dance type situation going on in Pittsburgh. It's got to be a last dance, right?
I mean, I would say last dance with like an asterisk because I think that window is 2 years. I think they have 2 years to get it done.
Okay, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. That's Crosby at 37. I mean, he's in great shape. Malkin's still going. The Carlson pickup was amazing.
I mean,
they got a bunch of good kids.
They have a bunch of guys, though. The one concern is health with a lot. Like Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Carlson. Health is a big concern with all four of those guys.
I don't want to bring that up because I hope every player.
Unfortunately,
I know you do. Every year, I hope I hear nothing about injuries because it's just such a. It's like the little thing you hear about. Well, how do you improve in a season? And I said, well, one of the things that the New York Giants were number one in is injuries for the last 2 years. Like when you hear numbers like that, it's got to kill your team.
Oh yeah,
and then have the suspect going in about it. I go, you know what I mean? Well, we're gonna have to see. I hope Tatar gets a place to land. Is there anybody else out there that you thought was interesting? Now, here's what you said to me.
I mean, a lot of the names out there, it's like guys kind of on the back end. There's some young guys who I'm a little surprised don't have contracts.
Me too, but I want to know why Montreal didn't go harder after Lafreniere. After look at the money he got, he only got 2.3.
Yeah, but no one signs offer sheets, and it usually tends to backfire in the NHL.
But he got his 2 years, though, right?
He got 2 years. Yep.
Yeah, not a lot of money. I think he's playing on himself, which is a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the move. Same with Evan Bouchard got some money too in Edmonton, 3.9 by 2. Lafreniere, I should mention, 2.325 by 2.
Wow, that's all good. Now, before we leave hockey, I think there's a couple of significant.
Well, there's the one more contract. Tampa Bay continues their dance with the salary cap, signing Hagel to the max.
Oh, I know.
For 6.8 max, 8 years, 6.5 per. They're already out of cap space for next year.
No,
for
but
the 24-25 season, we're talking.
But I do hope they do have a few guys that are leaving contract. They said that somewhere. Not a lot, but I think they're going to be able to dance, okay?
I looked at it, Cruz, like it's still not good. Like I think Stamkos has got 1 year left, and like his new contract, he's going to get like I think the Kopitar contract is going to set the tone. Like Stamkos is getting 8.5 now. I expect his next one to be in the 7.5 range.
I say less.
Really?
Yeah, come to Toronto.
Stamkos?
100%.
He's going to come to Toronto.
You heard me.
No, he's staying in Tampa.
Are you? Why? Because of.
I think he's convinced management is going to convince him they can win there again.
I'm saying that he went there because the money was better and he had a better chance at Stanley Cup and he got 2.
The money was better in Toronto though.
No, but I mean, he couldn't. They give up there. Like they were wise to keep him. He ended up getting 2 Stanley Cups.
Oh, for sure.
I smell him to be the Tavares guy, and when his contract comes up, he'll be what, 32?
He will be 34 next year when his contract's
34.
up.
So he's got all the money in the world. His family's got money. They got a beautiful place in Markham. Wouldn't you like to ride the storm out in a?
He's not coming to Toronto.
What's that?
He's staying in Tampa.
Oh, I hope he's on there TV to see his mom.
I'll make a bet right now that he's staying in Tampa.
I ain't betting against it. I'm not going to go there. But before we leave hockey, I think there's a couple other significant things that we should be brought up, and I'm glad you brought to my attention.
So you saw on the notes?
Yes, I did.
So Bill Peters back in coaching with the WHL.
How long has he been out? How long has he been out of the league now? A
few
while.
Years.
Yeah. So what is this? Is this going to be a redemption story, or what's going to happen when he goes?
I think that's the way the club's going to frame it as.
Oh, the only way to frame it. There's no other way to frame it. So what they're going, and he was a decent coach at the time, but sketchy.
Yeah, decent is the word. He wasn't great.
So what brings him back?
Lethbridge Hurricanes hired him. We should mention that, the WHL.
Okay, so they got him back. And what's his age now?
57.
Yeah, so he's been around. He knows the stuff, but he was also involved in some insane shit.
Oh, he got Akeem Aliu blacklisted.
Yes.
And like, Aliu didn't deserve it.
We shouldn't be laughing.
No, we're not. But like, it's this guy's a douchebag.
Oh, 100%. We're not gonna gloss over that. That's for sure. So I'm just hoping Lethbridge is it's good for them. I hope it's a redemption story.
I don't know if it's good for them.
Well, Lethbridge is in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
Okay, so half the people might not even remember.
No, but this is the way it was in the news.
Oh, it had to come out.
Racism and physical abuse. Come on.
Yeah, it's next level. Well,
head coach physically abusing your players, like
Fired.
That's awful.
Fired. It
awful,
should be out of there.
Awful.
Well, speaking of scumbag kind of stuff, and stuff we really don't want to talk about, is what's going to come to the head now is all this junior hockey stuff. I heard a little bit of what was out there. And so a couple, one of the guys that's up there, the guy I told you, I think it was John or one of the other guys was saying about that. Somebody says, who's going to go to jail? Let's check this, buddy. This is 2018. Isn't there statute of limitations on this shit?
Oh, statute of limitations is a lot longer than that.
Is it?
Yeah, like I can look that up quickly.
I think they deserve something for the stupidity they did, especially on a level that's freaking decadent sexually. This is hockey, not freaking urban ballet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. In Canada, unlike the United States, there is no statute of limitations that prevents the prosecution of many serious criminal charges at any time after the crime occurs.
I don't like the fact. I think it's I want to know how those 5 current NHL players are sitting right now.
Oh.
Like, if you know it's you, it's just a matter of time. I don't know who's covering this up so long. You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't they?
So the big thing that came out this week was that CBC Radio Canada, this is French CBC, reported that Ontario police, I guess in London, I'm guessing, this is where it all happened,
yep.
Are preparing to lay the charges. And this was from August 22nd. So, I mean, should be any day now.
The sad thing is it's going to put a huge stain on hockey again. We're going to have to talk about stuff besides penalty killing and power plays. We're going to have to talk about the stupidity of humans getting too much power to do stupid things.
Yep. There's been 8 players. It's believed to be 8 players, up to 8 players that are being accused, and 5 of them are believed to be current NHLers.
That's what I'm talking about. Aren't those guys sweating it?
They have to be.
Come on, you're going to go, oh, by the way, what if you got married now? What if you're married and you got kids? Ooh. Okay. No, so that's 2018, did you say it was?
Yep.
Okay,
so it was the 2018 team, so it was probably the summer of 2017 when this all occurred, if I'm correct.
Okay, so we're now working on 6-7 years later. You've married, you've got a couple of young kids, and someone's going to say, hey, you were a complete idiot?
So I'm wondering, too, because there was stuff about the 2003 team as well?
Yeah, but I think that's got to be, like, how you got it. The 2003 team, actually, they've heard was worse.
Yes.
They were crazier. Yes. Like, that's what I'm saying. But I don't think they're going to get any of those guys, and they're all out of the league anyway, and they're farmed out. I like.
But I mean, a lot of those guys you got to think of, like, broadcasting jobs.
Oh, they ain't getting that. None of those guys are getting anything. So we don't know where these people are. I think
the only one left from the 03 team is Marc-Andre Fleury. Not that we're throwing his name associated with this, but we're just saying to prove the fact that, like, these guys are all out of the league.
That's true, too. It's very unfortunate. I hate when sports comes to a point where you got to discuss anything else besides the element at hand. But anyway, we hope we clear this up before the season. I hope that there's
We will. I believe it's going to be like kind of like house cleaning right before training camp.
And then we're done for the season. It's better to get it over with, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm agreeing to. So since we're considering on that and what things are all Toronto, we have not taken the time to respect the fact that it's Labor Day. We are recording on Labor Day.
Yes, it is.
Due to the fact that I've been decadent in Muskoka, not keeping up my responsibility. But we just want to say a huge shout out to continue for our Toronto Argonauts who are playing their traditional Labor Day game classic against the Husky Wee Wees. What do you call those guys? What do they say that?
The Hamilton Kitty Cats?
The Kitty Cats.
The Tiger Cats.
Yeah, the Tiger Cats. As usual, it's going to be out in the Tim Hortons Arena.
Tim Hortons Field.
I want to go to a game there.
I've heard it's a beautiful facility.
I heard it's very, very good. I hope the Argos come out and kick them all over the place.
Argos are 8-1 right now. So.
And I want to have a big shout out to Chad Kelly.
Yes, he is looking like he's going to run away with the CFL's most outstanding player this year.
Oh, gimme.
And he also signed a nice new contract, $1.865 million over the next 3 years.
That's decent money for a guy that was so ridiculous that almost got himself out of the game.
That's great money for a guy like that.
Exactly, and he tightened up. He probably will end up. He's not the highest paid player in the CFL, but he's top 5 now, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
he's the highest paid quarterback after this.
He's the highest paid quarterback. In any event, Chad, we really want to congratulate you. We love the way that you're playing in Toronto. We do hope that Hamilton Pussycats put up a fight so the game is decent, but we're looking for a 9-1 Argos after today, are we not?
That's correct.
Another thing that we are going to do along the way is I know that we have to have a Toronto-centric take on a lot of things, so I'm going to let my good friend here, Mr. Milani, discuss the new coach of the Toronto FC.
Yes, John Herdman, former coach of the national squad, left that whole mess that was there to take the TFC job. And honestly, good for him. I would have left Soccer Canada too if I was involved with that nonsense. The moment they didn't schedule games during the international window, like, that's the big red flag right there. That's
100%.
unheard of. Unheard of. Like, Indonesia is like, not to shit on Indonesia and like countries like that, but they're scheduling games and like Canada can't. Come on, get your freaking shit together, Soccer Canada. You're an embarrassment.
You totally are. And you know what? And this is one of the great things I love about this show is the things that you learn that I've been digging a little deeper, really looking at this whole Soccer Canada stuff. Unfortunately, like we've already mentioned, most of the people that did the damage are out the door.
Yep.
You know what?
But I mean, the new people, it doesn't look like they're too keen on like solving this mess, though. I don't know. It's a lot of, I don't know. It's really disappointing.
I think what's going to happen, in my humble opinion, is these guys are walking on gilded splinters. And what happened is, look to the girls' team. Somebody got paid, something went on, we may never know. So what I think they're going to do, and I think this guy, like you said, he came to Toronto, why? He goes, I'm going to get out of that cesspool. I think I had a better chance here because of the structure's different when you got a...
Probably better pay, too, let's be real.
Oh, yeah, he'll probably get a better pay.
Get that MLSE paycheck.
Well, that's really good, too. But in any event... I just hope that Soccer Canada cleans this up because if you're saying, buddy, we're trying to grow the game, it's getting bigger all the time, and then we find out the very top in our country is a mess, that's two organizations we have that are very important in the country. Hockey, and we got the juniors having we got to talk about this stuff, and now when we got the financial, whatever is going on in Soccer Canada, good luck.
Yeah.
What do you think the prospects are for Toronto FC then? Ain't making the playoffs.
No, not this year. Definitely not. I mean, I've heard it's a big mess with the Italians.
Oh, really?
I mean, John Herdman said he's going to try like talk to them. Like, I think he's a good like a players coach, right? So I mean, hopefully he can get those issues solved. We'll see. Well, okay. I'm not going to set any expectations because, frankly, I just don't know.
Okay. Last time I checked, Milani, isn't that an Italian name?
Milani, yes.
Yes, okay, we got you.
Presumably, I have ancestors of Milan.
There you go. Yeah. So can I just say one thing? I forgot to bring this up when you're talking about it, is that I did run into, on an afternoon, I think it was a pig roast or day before down the beach, and something came up, and the argument was about MLSE against the Saudi League.
Yes.
But when I found out the main guys that were talking about them, we're three Woodbridge Italians.
Of course.
We're
everywhere.
No, but it was a great conversation, and I listened more than I talked, which is rare. Due to the fact that they were hoping, like, they're a big Premier League and Italian league.
Sure.
And they're one of the guys that's still saying that Juventus should get a kick in the face for all the stuff that they've done over a period of time.
Oh,
and I don't even understand all that, but he went on a rant about Juventus.
What was it called? Oh man.
He went off on that.
Yeah, about the 2004 scare, no, 2006, whatever it was, 2005 scandal.
Yeah, and he says the team's never been the same as far as he's concerned. But one of the things that they say is that they're Italian. And they said that was the biggest mistake ever to bring these guys, because what did they do? They went to Woodbridge, Markham, and Little Italy. Women, pasta, wine.
But I mean, Jovinko got that same treatment too, and that worked out. Was it maybe that they brought in too many at the same time?
It could be. I don't know. I'm not Italian, bro. And I never even thought of that till you told me. And then you seen the intangibles that went with it that made you go, oh, gee, is this a mistake? And now what I've heard is like these guys are Italians. They say, we shouldn't have brought them all. We shouldn't have done it. I'm going,
well, that's the thing. Apparently, like, Insigne and Bernadeschi are kind of button heads right now.
There's all kinds of stuff going on.
I think a problem, too, is that TFC doesn't have that, like, real good striker on the team. Like, there's not that Josie Altidore.
100%.
I think that's hurting them.
That's a good thing. Well, we're going to see in the future, but like we say, we're Toronto-centric. We love to shout out to all things Toronto.
Yeah.
But I think it's time that we should take a moment to talk about something that's big for the whole country. You know where I'm going with this, right?
I do.
Since 2000, was it the last time that we've had this? 2000. I got a shiver, I'll be honest with you. So let's cut to the chase. Congratulations to the men's national basketball team for putting us into the Olympics in 2024. We are looking forward to being the sleeper team of that tournament.
Yes, and Gay Paris, looking forward to that.
Oh, 100%. Now,
But yeah, I mean, like after talking about like Hockey Canada and Soccer Canada, Basketball Canada is just such a breath of fresh air now.
That's why we're doing it that way. We got a plan here. So one of the things, I don't know how much you've watched. Did you watch much of the soccer?
Basketball, you mean?
In basketball, yeah.
So, I mean, I was working during the first 4 games. So, I mean, I caught the highlights. I looked at the box scores, all that.
Yeah.
Yesterday's game against Spain was the first game I really saw in full.
Okay.
And oh boy, what a game.
Well, we're going to talk about it in a second. But the thing that gets me is that when we came into this, which was amazing, France was one of the top-rated teams.
We slapped them.
Oh, that was so much fun. Okay, so now what ends up happening here, in my opinion, is I think maybe the Brazil thing has worked out in a weird way. Not really, because you never want to lose.
No.
But one of the things I want to talk about, FIBA, which is cousins to FIFA, which means I don't know, in this level, I don't trust that stuff that goes on yesterday. There was a 7-point swing on the game. On the, what was it, the 3-point foul, knocked the guy down, and it was our buddy Dylan, who's got an international reputation, so he automatically got it. So it was like it was a 7-point swing when we got it down to 2, just before the half, and then they went up by 10.
Well, there's 2 double-digit leads that Canada
overcame. But here's what I'm going to talk about, and I hate to say it because we don't want to bring it up. I didn't get there till about 8 minutes into the first half, and I was watching the game, and I don't want to say it because it's an international thing, but I'm going and go, what are these referees calling? The refereeing was so atrocious, I could not believe it. And then by the time we got to the half, I said to myself, listen, Spain's playing us here. First of all, what they're doing is they're running around, and then they only go ISO when they try to draw a foul from like a Shea, a Dylan, RJ Barrett, and we took the bait. However, did you see some of those block calls and some of the one down the field? See where RJ Barrett was trying to get the guy off? Yeah. And he said, he grabbed his arm. Well, he throwed at him first, but RJ got the thing. Now, what ended up happening was, I swear to God, and I was sitting with 5 other guys, and then we said this. That's weird, Cruz. But I said, someone has to go in at halftime, take a look at the tapes and say, hey, man, we're looking terrible on international TV. How could you make this call, this call, this call, all of them against Canada? Okay?
Yeah.
So when they came out in the second half, what happened right away? Spain got two charging calls, which caught me off guard because they were legitimate charges, by the way. You've seen them. They were legitimate charges. They did not call those in the first half. Okay? Mm-hmm. They only called them in the second half. Now, what ended up happening to me personally, what I thought with the game was Spain shot themselves in the foot because I thought, God, were we playing better defense? No, Spain was trying to bring the clock down on every possession.
Yeah, that I saw the way they were playing there, and I'm like, that just made no sense at all. I did not understand that by the coaching there. I mean, not complaining, it worked out to Canada's benefit, but
I think, personally, everybody should learn a lesson, including the United States of America, who's just got great teams. I don't know where all this noise is coming from. But anyways, these teams like Spain, these guys have been playing together for how many years now?
Oh, my God. Yeah, they're a tight-knit group.
I seen Manny Fernandez out there. I forgot that he even played in the NBA, and he's still playing. He's like 30, well into his 30s.
Yeah.
But he's an intricate part of that operation.
Yeah.
You no matter how you cut it, where's all this noise coming from?
I don't know. Someone's hammering away at something. I know we're getting some renovations here at Shoe's.
Oh, that's right. So we could be involved. And that's good because it's only going to be better down the road, correct?
Yep.
In any event, big congratulations. I think Shea's going to be there, and I think that when we get the chance to play again, we're going to be bringing in Andrew Wiggins and Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I believe so.
And the kid from Minnesota who didn't play, I'm sorry about your name, because he's in a contract situation.
Yeah.
And he didn't play, which is respect because that's your bread and butter. This is just a big respect, but huge shout out. You know what? It's bugged me. You're a little. So how old are you when they 6, 5?
I was 7 years old. Sydney 2000.
Okay, you were 7 years old. So just think, you've never really had the Olympic experience.
No. I mean, even that Olympics, the only thing that really stands out to me was Vince Carter's dunk.
When he
jumped over was the guy
from
France guy. Yeah,
that was amazing. And you know what? Steve Nash did try to lead us against a bunch of I'm not saying G League players. I forget who else we had at the time. We had one other decent scorer. I think Bill Winnington.
Who was the guy who was on the Lakers?
That was Canadian?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Nah, the white dude.
Rick. No.
Yeah, it was a white dude.
He's black.
Which black guy on the Lakers?
Let me look it up. Rick Fox.
Oh yeah, we had Rick Fox. Right? I forgot about that. Yeah, he's me. So I guess we are black, aren't we? We're just on the light skin variety. We had a couple other guys, but Nash played his ass up, and that was in his NBA when he was the potentially MVP at the time.
No, that was still when he was with Dallas.
Yeah, but did he win the MVPs after?
Yeah, like
whatever. It doesn't
2005,
matter.
2006. Anyways, the thing I want to get to though is like that Canada-Brazil game. They lost by 4. That was when they really let slip by. The coach gave it to them, and sometimes you need those like games you lose closely in those crucial moments as like a big wake-up call. And hopefully that was this for this Canadian team. Because next we got Slovenia, and we all know who their best player is.
Of course, and we're going to knock him on his ass. But that's not. It's interesting you said that. I'm going to go one more time and said, yeah, we didn't move our feet, even against Spain. If we don't move our feet on defense, we're nothing.
Yeah.
Especially when they're passing that fast, okay? And we got guys that play NBA-style ball, and we know that FIBA's got different rules than the NBA. So Shea even played a little bit NBA ISO for a minute, but he got back away from it. I think part of the problem was when he gave the other guys the open looks, they weren't hitting them. We shot threes at the worst possible time. And why don't we stay? You know my argument all the time.
But they made the threes late.
Olenek. Thank you, Kelly. You made one.
And Dylan Brooks.
And Dylan's my boy. You know that. Dylan's my boy. I was screaming for him. I'm going to get a Canadian Olympic team, but they don't have names on them, do they? Just have numbers.
No, they got the names.
Got the names. I'm going to go get a Dylan Brooks Canadian Olympic team before we start. Did you hear his post-game interview?
No, I missed that.
Chewing nails. Loved it. Chewing nails talking to them. And I'm going, that's why it's unfortunate what happened to Memphis. But that's why they got them paid in Houston.
Yep.
He's going to play with Fred VanVleet. And you heard it here. Our NBA preview show is not for another 6 weeks. I'm already saying the most improved team in the NBA will be the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I believe that.
But that's over there. We want a huge, huge, huge shout out to Team Canada for getting to the Olympics. It's going to be an extra thing to watch for. And I think we're going to have a very competitive team.
I think so, too. I mean, they should be medal contenders in Paris next year.
Oh, I think they should be too. And here's the deal now. And I think it's kind of weird because you got to remember 3 or 4 guys on this team will not be going to the Olympics because they got to be pushed aside for the guys that couldn't make it. So whoever gets knocked, it doesn't get to play in the Olympics. Can I please thank you personally right now for the effort you made for our country to get us to the Olympics?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Because those are the guys that are the regulars in these tournaments when a lot of these NBA guys don't want to show up for X, Y, Z reason. Right?
And where were they playing this tournament? In some country I can't pronounce. Yeah. Okay. And the games are on at 9 in the morning because the time difference was that far away.
Yeah.
In the middle of summer, when you're Canadian, when you know the winters are the longest season of the year, they sacrifice that much. I really hope that Basketball Canada rewards these guys some way.
I think they will in some way.
You know what I mean? Because otherwise, we're going to get... Because we one guy that going to have to get better, though, is our EB boy, our guy that plays for Purdue. Remember the big center? Mm-hmm. The reason he couldn't get on is he's just not ready for prime time.
I mean, that's Canada's, like, one weakness. We need that real, like, good big man.
Yeah.
Like, Olenek's like a good piece to have, but he's not that.
No, and not only that, was the funny thing is that the thing about Spain is they ran out there. They got 7 guys that are 6'8" to 6'10", so they can give up the fouls. They bang people. They do whatever they want.
Well, that was kind of the problem against Brazil, wasn't it?
The game got too physical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the refs let it go. And by the way, what is Brazil basketball known for?
Physicality.
There you go. And so that's where the balance is going to be. But we'll see in the Olympics. It could get quite interesting. Once again, huge shout out to Team Canada. We're looking forward to see Jamal, but all the guys that played well. RJ Barrett, let's give him. Kelly played well.
Yep.
Dark played well. Some guys had up and down games, but the number one thing is, coach, keep preaching defense and keep your feet moving, correct?
Yep. And then Canada's quarterfinal game against Slovenia, that will occur on Wednesday, so looking forward to that. And Canada and the States on different sides of the brackets as well. Could be a Canada-USA final, if we're lucky.
You know that's what they're looking for.
All
their networks are looking for that.
Especially Sportsnet.
Oh, and ESPN.
Sure.
Was this ESPN that's playing the games, or is that Starlink?
I believe it's... Well, that's part of Disney, ESPN, so...
So it's going to be in the same galaxy anyway. Anyways, huge things. Now, before we're going to get into some other crazy things that's going on, but we are the house that happens. And one of my favorite discussions, believe it or not, Mr. Milani, when I was up in Muskoka, was talking about our boy Max. And you know what Max I'm talking about? It ain't no Max Domi. It's the Max that has how many wins in a row now?
10 wins in a row now.
Mr. Verstappen and Red Bull, you're doing some crazy-ass shit in the game of Formula One, which I am very new to, but in the last year, my learning curve has gone up completely. I had a couple of people in Muskoka. I got to shout them out. Oh, what's your name? Was your name Bill or whatever? When I said, the fun thing about Max Verstappen is when he looks in the microphone, It says cocky on his forehead. This guy said, "That's mild." That's exact words. Andrew, he said, "Oh, cocky? That's just mild." But how can you take it away from the guy?
No, you can't. I mean, it's been a great last 2 weekends of Formula One ever since we've come back from summer break. The Dutch Grand Prix, that was a lot of fun. Max, of course, winning his home race. Then we had the Italian Grand Prix yesterday at the world's famous Monza.
Are you ever going to go? Do you think one day you're going to go?
I would like to.
That must be on your bucket list, right?
Monza and Spa are the two I want to really hit up.
I expect you to go one day. I really do.
Verstappen, 10 wins in a row. That's a Formula One record. Red Bull, as a constructor, 15 wins in a row. They continue to extend their streak.
Yeah, and no, not even the Schumacher days. The Schumacher only did 9, right?
Yeah, he broke the record, Verstappen.
Yep.
And, I mean, he's got no signs of slowing down. I got some numbers here. So, Red Bull has a 310-point lead over Mercedes for second.
That's one of the highest in history, isn't it?
It's getting ridiculous. And, I mean, Max needs... Basically, he needs 3 more wins and he's champion. And then Red Bull basically needs 2 more victories, and then they got back-to-back constructors.
And I mean, there'll still be another 5 races left, right?
There are, let me see.
Or 8 races left.
Let's see. Singapore, Japan, Qatar, USA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 races left.
8 races
Singapore,
left.
Japan, Qatar, USA, which is the one in Texas, Mexico, Brazil, Las Vegas, and Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi's always the crown.
The finale.
Jewel. Yes, that's
even though it's not always a great race.
Oh no, but it's just because we'll go there.
Money.
We know just money. Guess what? Just want to say though, that's a huge. People should understand, and sometimes we forget about this. When you're actually dealing in greatness, you should observe it. You know what I mean? And like I said, when I met you, I knew Formula One was a car.
Yeah.
You know, and now I watch how it's all going. I really I'm liking how Lewis Hamilton's approaching this because it's killing him.
Oh, did you hear the shade that he threw at Max?
No,
where he said he's not a great teammate. It's like, buddy, like stay in your lane, buddy.
Oh, no,
like worry about your own team.
That's just ridiculous to say because I think Max Verstappen likes his mother, his father, his girlfriend, and probably what's the guy that runs the team. And the Spice Girl, I forget his name. Wait, I don't think Max I don't think that Max likes any. He's Max. I got the biggest dick in the room. Don't you guys know that? And when you know what? It's the old Kid Rock saying, "It ain't cocky if you back it up."
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Huge shout out to that though. Anyways, keep watching the Formula One. It's going to be irrelevant in a month.
Yeah, basically like. I mean, I'm expecting after the Qatar race, like once we get to back to the Americas, like Texas, Mexico, Brazil, Vegas,
it'll be the story's
it's
already
be gravy
been written.
For Verstappen and Red Bull.
That's true. Now something else has been going on while I was away, and I took little or no time to pay attention to it, which is unfortunate to me because, as you pointed out to me, maybe the Joker had one of his great U.S. Open tennis comebacks. Is that true?
Also, so a couple more things I want to mention for F1.
Go ahead.
Max, Alonso, and Hamilton are the only drivers this race to get points in every race.
Oh, really?
But only Max if you include the sprints, because there's been a couple sprints where I believe one sprint Fernando didn't get points, and there was one sprint where Hamilton didn't get points. Still, great consistency by all three of them.
I love Alonso. You know what I mean? He's one of
my favorites,
and he's an FU guy.
Oh yeah,
I love that about him. He's like FU, and you know what? He's the oldest driver in the field now,
yes,
isn't
he
he?
is.
But I mean, his competitive spirit and his drive to have that much drive at his age and he's having a successful season. I mean,
he's third place.
That's what I'm saying. You can't deny where he's in all the game, even though he's not going to catch our boy Max.
No, not even close. He's not even going to come close to Perez probably. And then have you heard the Lance Stroll rumors?
No, let me hear him. I seen you put on the notes, and I said this should be good.
So
he's the son, right?
Yes.
The spoiled rotten kid, right?
He earned his seat for F1 this for a lot of years, but I mean now it's like
I heard he came out of the womb driving an Escalade. Is that true? Continue.
So there's rumors that he's going to lose his seat in Aston Martin for next season, which shouldn't be that surprising given the way he's driving this year.
No kidding.
But
who's the guy? Don't tell me.
That's going to take over.
Yeah.
Djokovic, who was like who won F2 last year, is rumored to, and he's I believe the test driver this year.
Oh, okay.
For the team.
So
it's rumored that he's going to take up professional tennis.
What? Okay. He's got the rich boy blues, doesn't he? That is the epitome of rich boy blues.
And this is coming from like
reliable
good
sources?
Yes.
Okay. Lance Stroll is now going to play tennis.
Allegedly.
Okay, so I got a call the other night. I don't know. They said that one of the guys in Aerosmith might have some guitar problems, and maybe I could hang around and maybe jump on stage with them. Stop it, buddy.
I mean, to be fair, in tennis, like for these opens, you could just like enter the qualifying, right?
That's true. If you're good, if he may, God bless him. Wait, if I have to eat my words, I would be very happy for this young man. But this is rich boy blues.
Oh, 100%.
You know, no doubt about it. So where are we at now? We're in the round of 8, aren't we?
So
Felix is still in, eh?
No, Felix got knocked out early.
That's right. No, who is
all the Canadians knocked out?
Yeah,
the only Canadian that's Layla's still in for doubles, but that's it.
Yeah, we all got. You know what's really sad? About 2 years ago, everybody was talking about the going upwards of the Canadian soccer. Canadian tennis. Has that happened?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, no. I'm saying like I agree that was a conversation. It hasn't really. I mean, Felix, he's had a down year. Let's be real.
What about
Shapovalov?
Yeah, is he? Well, no, man.
Well, he's hurt right now, isn't he?
I thought he was modeling.
He didn't. He had a good first half of the season. Then he got hurt.
He had a so-so first half of the season.
Maybe it's just because I'm comparing him to Felix. But
okay, well then, whatever the case may be.
I hope Felix can bounce back next year. We'll see.
I think he was. He's got the skills. But speaking of rich boy blues, our boy Shapovalov, he's the epitome of that. I mean, in this way, like he's had some minor injuries. He's got all the skills in the world.
He's a bit of a hothead.
Oh, too much. And I love the guy coming up. I thought this guy's going to be the thing. But everybody knows where he lives. Everybody knows his parents are above average income makers.
You're in pro tennis. The way it goes. It's the name of the game.
And that's not a bad thing. But I'm just saying we should have some results on the court, don't you think? To have 2 years ago, I remember one of my 10 favorite athletes of all time, John McEnroe, just said 2 years ago, and who made the semifinals? Was that when Felix made the semifinals 2 years ago? Or Shapovalov made the quarterfinals?
Yeah, either way.
He said that he never thought that Canadian tennis has looked better.
I mean, that's definitely true at the time.
But what has happened in the last 2 years? I don't know. I don't understand something about Canada tennis players. We always get a sniff, never get the whole enchilada.
Yeah, we'll see. But did you catch Djokovic's third-round comeback?
No, I wish I did. What was he down, 2-0?
2 sets to love.
Wow.
He lost 6-4, 6-4, and then he came back 6-1, 6-1, 6-4.
Who was his opponent?
The other Serbian guy. Let me pull up his name.
I know the guy.
He's ranked like 32nd.
Blonde guy. I think it's a blonde guy. Big guy, too, right?
Jerry.
Yeah, but he's a pretty big boy.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah, he's big. I know the guy's probably hitting big serves. Then Djokovic, who's the master of adjustments.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's kind of cool. I hope he wins.
That's very cool. I stayed up late to watch that one.
God bless him. And we still saying, so when are the finals? It's not this weekend, right? No, next weekend, right? When's the final?
Yeah, it's probably
Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday coming up.
Now, did you see the owner of the Bills and the Sabres? Their daughter's doing
very well.
I didn't realize how highly ranked she was. She's actually the 3rd seed in the women's bracket, Jessica Pegula.
And she's right up there. She's still in this. She'll be in
She's playing in the 4th round. I believe her matchup's today. She wins. She's in the quarterfinals.
But isn't she playing our girl that was pregnant? Is she still playing?
She's playing against Madison Keys, another American.
That she should beat her. What's her name? Wozniak just came back with the 2 children. Is she still in? I heard she won her first 3 matches. Former champion.
Who's this?
What's her name? Is it Wozniak?
Oh, Wozniacki.
Yeah, remember?
She's having a bit of a comeback.
She's got 2 babies, hasn't played in 3 years.
She lost to Coco Gauff yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what Coco's got now. She must be the fan favorite.
Oh, I know. One of
Forest Hills. Oh my God.
Which one of her was it in the first round where like she was playing the Russian, like the Russian player was getting booed?
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I love that.
She was complaining about it. I thought that was hilarious. I mean,
Okay, so what about the American that made the run in Wimbledon? I forget his name. Is he still hanging around? No, eh? Remember they said he'll get all the props in the world?
Tiafoe, are you talking about?
No, the American. Black guy. Eubanks?
No, he's out.
I knew it.
Tiafoe's still in, though. He's in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, no, I expected him to go farther.
Yeah.
I thought the Eubank guy had a great run at Wimbledon. I said, nah, he ain't going to make the U.S. Open. It doesn't work that way. God bless him, though.
Yeah, I can't even find him. I don't think he made it very far at all.
No, and he was a hype going in, right? Because Coco didn't do as good as Wimbledon. I said, we'll see her at the U.S. Open. That's for sure, which is a good thing.
Oh, yeah, Eubanks. Okay, Eubanks made it to the second round.
So what? Second round.
He lost to Bonzi,
Nobody.
wild card.
Yeah. See,
who lost in the next round to Stricker. So.
Exactly, and that's how it works there. Like, it's always great. The thing about tennis in a tournament, when a guy gets on a run, you gotta love him. You gotta hope for something to happen. All that Cinderella bullshit, but it doesn't work that way. Anyways, we're all here at the house that happens. I don't know if I'm speaking for you, but I'm speaking for me. We want the Joker to win, don't we?
I do. I'm hoping for a Joker Alcaraz final.
Of course we are. That's the name of the game. That's what we want. You know what I mean? But I think what we should be leaning towards now is we've talked about a variety of things that get us through the summer and all the fun things that we had to argue about and where the teams are going. And we're not really going to talk about the NFL today yet because it's a few days away.
So actually, I want to lead off with something with this. So
okay.
I think I'm going to be converted to Apple TV.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Did they rub your balls?
I've already decided I'm dropping Disney Plus because Disney Plus is not enough content for what they're getting. And now they're adding the Netflix stuff where if you share it between households, they raise the cost there. So I'm just
that's bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's big bullshit. It's big bullshit. And they were like making fun of Netflix for doing this like a year ago. Now they're jumping on a lot of people are actually predicting that Disney Plus in a year is going to be gone.
Oh, I think it's the week one, so they can't survive.
Oh, well, the only reason they're being kept up is like because their subscriptions are coming from like, you know, they'll throw it in like with your cable package or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So their actual people paying for subscriptions are actually very low. But getting past all that, Apple TV Plus, one of the things I love that they're doing is for baseball, they actually play the players' walk-up songs because Apple's got the music rights.
Oh, that's too cool.
Yeah.
On the games?
Yes.
So they play. Oh, that's off the charts.
I knew you'd be a fan of that.
That's off the charts. That's the best thing I've heard it's early in September. Really, so when the game goes on and the guy's walking up on your TV,
they play it.
They're going to play the guy's walk-up music? Yep. That's off the charts. That's one of the things I've always loved about baseball. Like
that's the thing
rules.
We did. Yeah, that's the thing we did when me and my buddies had our softball game. We're gonna get another one in October. We had a speaker set up. I'm like, give me your walk-up song. Give me like if you want a specific part of the song, tell me. I'll clip it for you. And then we had it like playing while we went up to bat.
Okay, so when is this game?
When are we gonna do the game?
Yeah,
we still gotta decide. It's
okay. So you're gonna have a microphone out there.
Oh, we're gonna have a speaker. It's gonna be connected to my phone.
I'd like to MC that.
Okay.
Let me know in time. I'll introduce the players. Then you hit the music. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because the word around the campfire is I'm getting out my mitt, my shoes. I'm coming out of retirement next spring.
We want to do it. So we have a field in Kleinberg that we found that we're doing it in. So
cool. Let me know. If I'm available. I think that would be a whole bunch of fun. Which is a great segue. By the way,
yes,
you know where we're going. I got to check out that Apple TV. Then I think that's just for fun because I've got a box that I've got to reboot this week because we didn't, you know, the one we get from Surge, the streaming box. But we haven't paid for it the last couple months because nobody's home, and we had Prime and we let that go because we found that we had too many services and we're not watching them.
Yeah, the only reason I have Prime is because like I ordered a lot of stuff from Amazon, so it just made sense.
Yeah, well, that's why
it takes care of the delivery charge, right? So.
And not only that, I get the Amazon Music on my phone, which is that extremely. Yep. That was good when I was up north, man. God bless John Luke Ponte. Nobody knows who he is. I reintroduced myself to him. I played the living shit. He's a violinist, by the way. Played the shit out of the guy. But the segue we're going into is that we wanted to get everything out of the way because, Andrew, I think that the rest of our show should be devoted to the fact that we got that game called baseball going on. And it's mayhem lately. Yep. So where do we start? Okay, I'm going to start with this. Let's start. There's a variety of things we could talk about, like that mess that is the wild card race in the National League.
The American League, you mean?
No, the National League.
Then
we go to the American League West and say who's going to win that, which is another mess. We could talk about why the Atlanta Braves are immediately going to win the whole goddamn thing. But because we're Toronto-centric, we have no choice but to discuss what the hell is going on with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, boy.
When we had the last show, they were in the playoffs. Are they in the playoffs today, or are we tied?
No, we're out.
Where's a game out?
We are.
Seattle lost last night. And my call about Seattle, they were in division lead for a while.
We are a game and a half out of the last wild card.
One loss, so it's only one loss in the loss column, though, correct?
2 to the Rangers, though, because there's a virtual tie for the second wild card spot between Houston and Texas.
Okay, because Tampa Bay looks like they got it clinched, right?
Yeah, so that was actually in my notes. Whereas
I thought that was a good note.
Was greatly exaggerated.
And who was me? I was the one that was kicking him in the face. I didn't go there. And you know what? Again, where did these pitchers come from that Tampa Bay got in the system? Eh?
I know they
just blew me away. Like I watched him the other night, and I go, "Who's this guy?" And he went 6. Some guy never went 6. But you know why Tampa Bay's still not going to win? This stupid, let's start the guy 1 inning. Then we go, I do not believe in this freaking bullpen day bullshit because you didn't win. What did they do last year? Who's their starters? They still have 3 solid
I still
starters.
think Tampa Bay is going to win 1 eventually.
When?
Could be this year.
Okay, the real thing we should be talking about before we get to that, because we got a lot to talk about the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
We should talk about everything else that's going on in there before I get the chance to do some bitch slapping, is the fact that I was the one that trashed Baltimore incessantly. The fact that I've hated them since as a kid. I hated Earl Weaver. I hated Jim Palmer. I hated those underwear commercials. Did your mom like Jim Palmer? Is she old enough?
I could ask her. I've never heard that name before.
You never heard of Jim Palmer? Oh, my God. You know who Jim Palmer is?
Nope.
I don't know why they took him off the air, because he was a pretty good an analyst.
For the Blue Jays?
No. Like in America, like big, like A-Rod on the national thing.
Okay.
He was big. I don't know where he is now.
My uncles would maybe know about that.
Oh, everyone knows Jim Palmer, man. Him and Earl Weaver had some of the greatest freaking in dugout fights in the day. The camera would show him on there. But Jim Palmer's second most important thing was he was an underwear model.
Oh, okay.
At a time when all that stuff wasn't quite vogue, and are you macho enough to be doing? Guy made a fortune. The women loved him, which is number one. So he was smart. Women loved the guy. They didn't know who he played for, but they knew who Jim Palmer was.
Where's this going?
He is a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Okay.
He won 243 games. He pitched 300 innings twice. I hate the guy. Did I tell you I hate the guy?
Why is that?
Because he was a bitch.
Why is that?
Oh, you seen the guy play? First of all, I didn't think his shit smelled. He thought he had the greatest stuff ever, and he played on a staff with 4 guys that won 20 games in one season, which we'll never see again, in 1972. Let me see if I can name them. Mike Cuellar, Dave McNally, Pat Dobson, and Jim Palmer. Oh, you should fact check me on that. Last time 4 guys won 20, and he wasn't the best guy in the team. It was Mike Cuellar, who was runner-up for the Cy Young, and Palmer still thought he was the greatest. I'm the best pitcher in this team. Like, he just didn't back down from that. Now, out of all those guys, I think he's the only guy that made the Hall of Fame. So in the long run,
he was maybe right.
Not for every season. He was a solid guy. I think he won 20 games like 5 times.
Right.
But the reason I'm bringing up Jim Palmer and all this stuff is that that's the legacy of the Baltimore more than Cal Ripken. Those guys were in now Baltimore. Look at
not now.
If people, like maybe my age, maybe the older guys, the Baltimore Orioles were synonymous with winning. The 3-run home run, they didn't give a shit. They came out bashing, hitting, knocking people down, playing defense. Look at them now. They were the laughing. When's the last time they made the playoffs? 2001 or 2011?
No, well, 2016, they lost the wild card game to the Jays.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's the one time there. And they never got a sniff since, right?
I don't believe so. Let me check that quickly.
They fell right off the cliff. They changed ownerships and things got weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now that they're back, like, we got to give them this credit. Their drafting system. And
I mean, that's what happens when you're drafting like top 3 every year.
Agreed, but you got to make the right choices.
Fair.
Okay?
Yeah, 2016 was the last time they were in. They had that low run 2012, 2014, 2016.
Yeah, and then that was
Showalter.
Yeah, that's right. And another good manager let him away, and then they fired him. It hasn't been the since. But I think it was because the ownership changed there. Mm-hmm. So my point about this is, I'm still not cheering for Baltimore. Fuck
well,
them.
I wouldn't expect you
know.
to. They're a division rival.
That's right. I want nothing to do with this guy, but I'm looking at their record, and at the beginning of the year, even at the All-Star break, what did I say? And I'm drastically wrong. Baltimore will come back to the pack. Now, and by the way, let's take a look at what did I say would win the division. 600 on the road, 500 at home or 600 at home, 500. You say 550 on the road.
Yeah.
Look at Baltimore, 42-26 home, 43-25 on the road.
Yeah, they're 600 at home and on the road, basically.
Oh my God, who would have thought that? And but you know what? I'm predicting this still because I hate them. They'll be gone in the first round of the playoffs. A lack of experience will get them. That's my call.
So they're going to lose to like one of the wild card teams.
Yes.
Perhaps a Tampa Bay. Wouldn't that be funny?
Wouldn't that be because they'll be the number 1 seed though, won't they? No, they won't play Tampa Bay.
It would be
when we sneak in. It'll be us.
One of the West teams or the Blue Jays potentially,
and we'll beat them. This is because the odds will come back all the way around, and they'll say on the odds. Now, as we're going along, it's finally been decided, and I don't know where they're going to go with this. Is that the Twins are going to win that division?
Yeah,
by default.
Cleveland, I mean,
they fell down.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're in any. What happened to the White Sox, by the way?
I
did not expect. I did not expect to see the Tigers ahead of them in the standings.
Oh, I love that. Detroit Tigers.
They're 10 games ahead of them, too.
I love it. I think it's just amazing.
Unreal.
The Tigers could be the next Baltimore, but we got to wait and see on that.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, next year. Or they're a couple seasons away. The 3 biggest disappointments in baseball this year by far, and I forgot to bring the book. Well, we'll show it before the playoffs, just a reminder of each other. The biggest fall downs in the league. Let's put them in from third
Yankees.
to 1. Oh, no, they're number 4. No, they're not.
Number 4?
They're number 1 because they fell down. Okay, I'll give them number 2. The number 1 fall down is San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
God, that's San Diego. And then
can you really call it a fall down when they weren't even quite
they
there
were there.
to begin with?
Yeah, but last year they were in the hunt. They were going at the Dodgers. They were coming in the back door.
But the Yankees were like division winners last year. They looked like world beaters. That all the hype in the world coming into the season. Now they're dead last in the AL East.
Okay.
Under 500. It's the worst record they've had this late since the 80s.
Was it the 80s?
Yeah.
Oh, in any event.
That was a miserable decade for the Yankees. Not complaining, but
I didn't care. Anyways, it's interesting you said that because the only thing that I wish was better is that I wish Boston was down there with them.
I mean, if it weren't for the Jays, maybe they would be.
That's right. And you know what? Now it's really bad for the Yankees because they're the only team in the American League East that's under 500.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
They're only 1 game under, but still.
And they may get over. But you know what? My heartbeat. But the 4 biggest disappointments. Okay, the New York teams are a disappointment.
Oh, the Mets. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so that's a complete different. They're the White Sox, who were considered a division contender,
and now they're talking rebuild with that team.
Already in 1 year.
If they just came out of one supposedly,
and then this is supposed to be your Mr. Anderson as a baseball player has turned out to be a bit of a schmuck, and I like the guy. I don't know what it's all about. I think they got a dressing room.
Our executive producer Jay is a fan of his as well.
I know I was too, but I'm going, oh no, I don't know about this now because he's just weird. He does weird shit. But I will say this: what I think is most interesting, and I'm going to bring this up because this is why they did it. Okay, really quickly. Once upon a time, they used to bring up 1,000 people on the September call-up.
Used to be 10.
It was ridiculous.
Yes. Now it's 2.
Okay, so now it's 10. The gospel, well, not yet. I'll do that later. My theory is this. There used to be only a couple teams make the playoffs, right? And by the time you got to this time of the year, you pretty well knew, especially when I was a kid, when I was your age, it was pretty well decided. There might be some tight races going down.
It was just the division winners that would make it, so 4 teams.
And wasn't there one wild card? No, wild card.
Wild cards came in mid-90s.
Okay, yeah. So when that all came in, so what happens is back in the day, teams didn't mind because they're pretty well winning, so they could bring up prospects and see what they could do. Somewhere in the 90s, when they brought in the wild card, it wasn't fair because all of a sudden some team that was a bum bring up 10 guys playing against a contender, throw 8 pitchers at her, the contender loses that game, and that could cost them their playoff spot.
Yep.
So I'm really glad that they were only allowed to bring up 2, and I like our 2 September call-ups, but we'll get to that in a minute. So
yeah, I want to go a little bit around the league before we get to the Blue Jays.
That's what I'm doing. So what do you think of this? That's what I'm saying. I'm in the American League right now, but I'm just talking about Twins. They've got it. Can't take it out. Now, what's going on in the American League West? My theory is this. That's why you don't bring up the 10 guys anymore. We'll give you 2 because of the long season. But what this is really proven is baseball is smart that they've kept the interest level this high, this long. Football's coming up in a week.
Yep.
So, the monolith is pushing everybody out of the air. But I think there's enough interest in baseball, and especially in some of the local markets which spread out.
100%.
That this could be a very good season for baseball. Let's just look at it now. Who's going to win that division?
I mean, Seattle looks like the choice right now just because of the way that they've been trending lately, but Don't count out Houston.
Okay, I'm going to say
Texas, I think, is slipping a little bit.
Okay, I tried to do it when I was away, but I couldn't figure it out because we got a lot of episodes now. I'm trying to go back, and I'm going to find the episode where I said, everybody be scared of Seattle.
Yep.
I said that was the team. I wasn't worried about it. And I said, but
I was questioning that trade deadline, remember?
Yes, you were. But the thing that I can say this and sound really smart, but my other crack was Tampa would be the team that fall down. So sometimes
and they look like they could be on their way to 100 wins or thereabouts.
Sometimes you kick, sometimes you get kicked. That's just the way it works out. So now I am totally fascinated when I come home MLB at night. What's going on in the American League West? Because that's going to affect us. And look
the wild card.
Okay, so now you're looking at it. There's only 2 losses between, you know me, my 2 favorites, quality starts and losses. And you can't make up losses. So the Mariners they lost yesterday, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They're lucky that Texas went down, and the Astros are 5-5 in their last. I didn't think they'd go that. You're still saying the Astros could do it?
I think so. They're game back.
Okay, but I'm looking at them this way. I think their defense is sketchy at times.
Can be.
I seen them play the other night. They
got good pitching, though.
Oh, yeah, they got that pitching. They got that hitting.
And they got the hitting, yeah.
But sometimes their defense, the outfield, they looked a little Toronto Blue Jays the other night.
But I mean, so I was reading something where it's like fielding in baseball is like less than 10%. So like as long as you have the hitting and pitching, that's going to carry you.
Okay. You hold that thought. You hold that thought till we go to National League. And what did you just say? Defense is 10%, right?
Fielding, yeah.
Fielding. Okay, we're gonna hold that when we talk about our favorites, but we're gonna move to National League because I got a big.
So
with that.
yeah, I also just want to include here that the Angels they just never had a chance. I want to get a little bit back to the Angels with their waiver situation a little bit after.
No, go ahead. You can outline that right now.
Okay. So there was.
Isn't that some of that illegal?
It was legal, but that's the problem. So this is kind of going back to our show last week where we kind of talked about the 2 trade deadlines. This is just like the return of that in a way where it's like, the Angels put 5 players on waivers, 5 prominent players on waivers, including one that just picked up at the trade deadline for crying out loud.
What's his name?
Yeah, the pitcher.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden they just put them on there, just looking to dump their contracts, and it's just like, it's just like the waiver situation where it's just like.
But a couple of those guys got claimed, didn't they?
4 of them. The only guy that didn't get claimed was Randall Grichuk.
Oh, sorry, Randall.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, you always been good, bad, or ugly.
There was rumors that the Jays were going to pick him up, but that never made sense to me.
No, because we got
Hunter Renfroe was the one I was interested in.
Oh, definitely. And I was shocked when I'd heard that they put him on waivers. But you know what? Doesn't that take away from the integrity of the game a bit?
100%. I think MLB's got to look into like changing the rule. Like maybe like moving that waiver deadline like back at 2 weeks, kind of like we mentioned. Maybe the trade deadline should be August 15th. Even if move that that waiver deadline back to the 15th, that would make things a lot more fair. Because like now with a month to go and like you just dump all those players, and then the waiver system too, it's like just the bottom feeders picking them up. And like I would be pissed if like I wanted a guy like Hunter Renfroe like a month ago was willing to trade you prospects, and all of a sudden like the team like below me chasing me got him for free.
And they get the first crack at him because that's how the waiver works.
No, it's bullshit.
Yeah, no, it is
bullshit.
Because
I'd rather have the waiver trade deadline.
Oh, I would too. But I heard Toronto kicked Hunter Renfrew's tires.
Yeah, but in the they were low in the waiver priority, right? That's the problem.
But I mean at the trade deadline. He was a name that came up at the trade deadline as a possible bat that we could need. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't go there. But I that's one of the things that really kills me about the integrity of the game.
Yeah.
When people do shit like that, and then you know what happens too is because when you're out now, like, okay, just to refer back to when I was away for the vacation, right? And there's a lot of guys sitting around watching games and shit.
Sure.
And there's a lot of good old school that's discussing and a lot of alcohol flowing and shit. But you'll always get the person that throws out this take, and you can't deny it. They will say, these overpaid, spoiled athletes get in their own way, wrecking the game and blah, blah, blah. And something like this comes up with the Angels, and what does it give them? All the fodder that they need to say, and you know what? I dismiss those people anyway because you're not a sports fan. Every chance like those type of people, every chance they get, they kick sports until suddenly like the Toronto Maple Leafs make the finals, and then they're the biggest freaking Toronto Maple Leaf fan on the face of the earth. You know those people,
right.
And I ran into a few of those on my holiday. I didn't give them a lot of credence, as I said, and I just knew where to put. You put people that talk into categories.
Sure.
Oh, these are those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I respected them, and I said, oh, yeah, and they asked me some questions, and don't you think this? And I had to agree on a couple of occasions. Yeah, that happens. And he goes, and you go to podcast, you spend much time with all these guys? And I said, no, it's an interest. You know what I mean? It's we're into this because we like maximum competitive effort that entertains. Now, another thing that came up about entertaining when we were saying this stuff, and I always said to some of the guys that the hardcore guys that didn't like, I said, ultimately, and your Apple TV thing puts a period on sentences. As soon as the game goes on TV, it's a show, it's entertainment.
I would say at the stadium too.
Well, I like the live fan effect because you got more. You're interactive. You know what I mean? You're
That's
there.
still entertainment. It's like going to a concert.
Oh yeah, but that's different than watching a concert in TV.
Sure,
you don't get.
But it's all entertainment at the end of the day.
Oh, always entertainment. But I'm saying you got to classify. If you put on there and you put on. Friends is on one channel and the Blue Jays are on another channel. They're both on competing for the same eyeballs, right?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So that's all I'm getting at is that don't take anything away that we're going to lose eyeballs on to discredit the game or give half fans or people that just want to bitch about sports. Give them any opportunity. And you know what's really weird? Are they clearing the cap? There's no cap in baseball. This is Marino's the owner. That guy prints money.
I mean, there's rumors that there might be a cap coming, but...
Nah, not in baseball.
There's whispers, Cruz.
Oh, why? Who's that going to save? Tampa that just make them better?
Tampa,
I heard
Oakland.
Where's Oakland's in Vegas? They're out of town. I
Yeah.
feel sorry for the city of Oakland. But the bottom line is, where do we go with this? This waiver deal? It's going to be interesting. We should put that in the back because that's horrible.
No, they got to do something about that rule because I'd be pissed
away.
if I was in management. I'd be
guys
livid.
and people aren't going to go with that. That's the owner.
Yeah,
that's the owner.
I mean, already Moreno, top 5 worst owners in baseball, but
and top 5 richest.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. He's like Ursay, Indianapolis, but we'll use that later. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that on Thursday.
Thursday.
One last thing I want to get to in the American League. Will Garrett Cole finally win his Cy Young?
I hope not.
That's not what I asked. I didn't ask it what you hope. I asked if come on.
Ohtani.
I said Ohtani for Cy Young midseason. You told me no way.
And it's not. It's not going to happen. I know Cole's probably going to get it because who's his competition? It's like guys like Gozman.
Gozman's good.
But he pukes it up and has he got 10 wins now? Finally got 10 wins.
Let me pull it. I had the J stats here.
Yeah,
he's got 10 wins. He's leading the American League in maybe all the majors in strikeouts too.
Oh, he is. I think he is.
207 so far. Cole's not far behind him though.
Garrett Cole is playing for a last place team.
It's just most outstanding
Garrett Cole's
pitcher.
playing on the last place team.
Doesn't matter.
Garrett Cole's playing on. I hate the guy. I hated him on Pittsburgh. I hate it when he went to Houston. He's a little bitch. You know what I mean?
He's got the second highest ERA, or second lowest rather, ERA in the American League.
He's having a great year. He's pitched 160 innings so far, hasn't he? Something outrageous. He's been up there.
His WHIP is just
solid,
a hair over 4, which
is solid. I just don't like the guy. That's all. I'll just be honest with you.
I'm not a big fan of his either.
No, he's just got that.
He's a Kermit the Frog sounding motherfucker.
And not only that, he's snotty about everything.
Yeah.
And if things don't go his way, he looks at his team. You know what he reminds me of? Even though I liked him and I didn't. He's got a little Dave Steve in him.
I can definitely see that.
And like someone makes a play on the field, he turns back and he looks at the guy and gives him that stare. Come on, buddy. It's a team game. He kicked it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't give a shit if Garrett. I think you know what? In all likelihood, he will get it. Do I think he's a Hall of Famer? No.
That was my next question. Does that make him an automatic? I think it does make him a Hall of Famer.
How many wins has he got?
In his career?
If he's got 110, because the numbers are going to come way down now because of the way the game has changed. So it's not going to be you got to have 250 wins to get into the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
It's going to be 180 wins now or 200 at the most. But I don't think, why? You think he's got a Hall of Fame numbers?
I think he does.
I don't like the guy.
Let's see.
Done.
142 wins.
Oh, he does.
3.21 ERA. 1,824 innings pitched. Over 2,000 strikeouts. His WHIP is 1.1 for his career.
That's pretty damn good.
That's very good.
What's his win factor now? 132?
Win factor?
No, his win. How many wins does he have?
142.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And he's only, 33? 34?
Sorry, this computer is slow.
That's
as
okay.
shit.
It doesn't matter.
Even scrolling up the page is a task for this computer. Where's his age?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you why he's going to make it. I'm going to tell you why he's going to make it, okay?
Oh, you changed quick. He is, yeah, he's about to turn 33 in a few days, actually.
Well, I have to go with as a realist. As a cruise control in full effect who loves chaos, fuck that guy, and I don't like swearing. However, when you look at the realistic facts and the way the game has changed, and you got to look at the numbers for Hall of Famers are going to change drastically in the next 10 years. First of all, like guys don't pitch as much as they used to. Yep. There's more players getting rotated around. You know, the whole analytics part of the game has adjusted it so that the numbers are not going to be as gargantuan as the old school guys that got to play forever. You know what I mean? Do you know that, which I could not believe, that Bassett's one of the guys, and who's the other pitchers? I think it might be Strider on Atlanta. Well, I think he's the best pitcher in baseball, by the way. He's my call for best pitcher in baseball. What was I going to say now about Strider, Cole? Oh, you know that I think it's Strider, Bassett, one other guys. They pitched over 100 pitches 4 times.
That's it.
That's it. And Bassett threw 110 the other night. I thought he should have been a chance to go for the second complete game shutout of the year, but I guess 110 pitches and Akins and Shapiro called
especially
from the
late
deck.
season. I don't.
Akins and Shapiro called down. Not that they're running the team now. Okay, just
allegedly.
Allegedly not doing that, but my thought is this, and okay. There's a little thing that goes around that's really great about when you go on a vacation because everybody's there and everyone's drinking beer, and when sports comes up, everybody's got their opinions. Everybody wants to talk about it, what they know, what they don't know, and Cruz is an idiot because he thinks that Marner's a defensive player and stuff like that. And one thing that came up in common is everybody that was serious baseball fans go, what's up with this Bassett guy? You want him on your staff. He's got 12 wins now, 11, 12 wins?
13, I believe.
13, whatever. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 13-7.
13-7. Not look, and an ERA has dropped under 4 finally because it went over 4.
For a bit. He's mostly been under 4 for the season. 3.81 right now.
Yeah, well, that innings the other night really brought it down for him. My problem with this guy is, what is your problem, buddy? Like if something goes wrong,
device he's got that he's typing in his.
Okay, and here's well, let's go nationally because we're going to have some Jays things here, and we're going to be running out of time soon. So I just want to get to the National League really, really quick before we continue on with our thing because we're gonna get in this about the Jarrett Cole American League East. We'll get there in a minute. And if you think that he's going to make the Hall of Fame, I'm not going to bet against it. If I had a vote, I wouldn't.
I think he's a slam dunk.
Wow.
You just said 150. He's at 142. He's right there.
I hate the guy. Bring your beard back. Oh, yeah, I can't have a beard. You're a Yankee. Yep. I can't wait to do it. You ever see that little sign he had when he was a little boy, standing there with his Yankee stuff, with his mom? Now he's a Yankee. Isn't that cute? And you missed the playoffs. Good. Watch from your home. Watch it on Apple TV. It's not
his fault.
What?
It's not his fault.
No, I don't know what happened to the Yankees, and I don't feel sorry for him one bit, like I was saying.
So, getting to the National League. I got to shout out Ronald Acuna Jr., the first 30-60 player in league history. That's 30 home runs, 60 stolen bases. He got it. The 30th home run was a grand slam on the same day he got married.
That was crazy-ass stuff.
That's nuts.
Okay, can I have a little pushback?
Is he a slam dunk for National League MVP?
You still got to consider his teammate Olsen, and you still got to consider Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, but I think this pretty well convinced it because all the writers will look at the 30-60. Can I say something?
The storylines, yeah.
Okay, what did I say at the beginning of the season?
Track meet.
Here we go. I don't think he would have had those 60 bases if you were allowed to throw over as many times as you used to. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So congratulations to the guy. That's still a huge, and I think he will be. I think he's like, how many pitchers? Okay, you got Ohtani because he does both, but now look at Ohtani's arms fall off. Yeah. So now he's just a regular guy again, and guess what? Ohtani doesn't play defense.
Yep.
So in some respects, who would you rather have, Acuna or Ohtani? Everyone goes, what
Acuna.
about the Acuna? Yeah. Well, who would you rather have?
I would still say Ohtani.
I think this pitching, hitting thing is going to go the way of the dodo bird because every time he gets up in those innings, he never gets the final end in it. Look at his record over the years. Has he pitched more than 150 innings ever? No. Okay, so Acuna's a Gold Glove, or Acuna, whatever his name is. He's a Gold Glove outfielder with a rocket for an arm, stealing 60 bases,
and a great bat.
And a great bat. So I'm saying when Ohtani's getting those few home runs and sitting on the bench eating sunflower seeds, Acuna's going up against the wall with 2 outs to take one off the rail and end the inning.
Now, I want to ask you, I want to get a little bit into Ohtani. Do you think the Angels made a big mistake by not giving him like a rest day the day after he pitched?
Yep.
Yeah. That's the issue?
I think that has a lot to do with it, but those pitchers are so goddamn routine.
It's just funny because, like, every other pitcher in the league, it's like, what do you do the day after you pitch? You have a light jog. What's Ohtani doing? He's going up to bat 4 or 5 times
a game. Yes, I agree. And then your mental focus with your physical part of the game, you never have a chance to decompress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the deal. I think the biggest mistake the Angels made is they didn't trade Ohtani.
Oh.
I think that's the biggest trade now because they dumped all those players. If you did
and his value just tanked.
Oh, there you go. So his value went down. You put everybody on waivers, and we don't know what's going on with Mike Trout.
Yeah.
So this Angel team is doing 90 miles an hour going towards a brick wall from a team that was supposed to be a contender for the last 2 years.
Which I never really bought. But
I neither. But I thought this year, remember, for a while, maybe they could have jumped up. So
for a hot second, it looked like they might get in the playoff race, but that never materialized at all.
Do you think it's a possibility they could end up being a Chicago White Sox or a New York Mets next year?
Oh, 100%.
That's what I'm saying, too. That'd be
if they're smart, they get rid of Ohtani in the offseason.
They can't. He's non-restricted free. I mean,
he's got 1 year left on his deal.
Oh, yeah, then they got to trade him. They'd get rid of him, too. What about the Mike Trout situation? He was talking about the next Mickey Mantle. This guy's broke down like nothing. Is he back yet from the DL?
No, he's not. I feel so bad for Mike Trout. That's
I do, too. Come on. He was just a joy to watch. He was one of the best baseball players in the history of baseball players. Serge Singh in the house. How you doing? Good, 8-1 Chad Kelly with a 3-year contract?
Yes, this is my buddy Matt Stoddard.
Got a microphone.
How you doing? How you doing, buddy? Why don't you come in for a game sometimes? My name is Cruz.
Here. Cruz.
How you doing? My buddy Vladdy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's running away. We had a guy that playing at a high level. He's got a microphone in his head and he's leaving the room. You know what? I'm going to be out there in a few minutes. The show's all over and I'm chasing you down, bro. I'm chasing. Okay, buddy. We will get there. Serge, good to see you. What's that? Of course, yeah. I confuse easily, but I knew that. That was kind of cool that we have an interruption in our show with two good sports people. I think you understand who he is, right?
Well, what would be an episode of The House that happens without an interruption or two?
Exactly the way it is. But anyways, we'll go back to our Tanny thing and Mike Trout. Mike Trout could have been a Mickey Mantle, or he was a Mickey Mantle. Yeah. And to have this happen to him, God bless. We'll see him at the Eagles games.
We will.
We'll see him at the Eagles games. Which brings us to one thing. I think that the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you think that them in Atlanta will make it into the ALCS? NLCS. I think it'll be a 5-game series.
Ooh.
5-game series. You heard it here first. I think the Dodgers are a bit of a fraud. They're bringing up all these young guys.
I know you've questioned their pitching.
Oh, I still do. I don't question their batting lineup, and I don't question their defense.
Yeah.
They got, like, their lineup is lethal and legit. Who's in their bullpen? You? Come on.
They have a good. Actually, no. They moved him. He's a starter now, isn't he?
Yeah, they had to move up because they didn't have any starters. Worst ERA since the 60s. Like before Sandy Koufax or something. Now, when I heard that number, I went, what? So I think that the Dodgers are just lucky that they're there. But the thing about the National League that I really like is, what if it's the Diamondbacks that knock out the Dodgers? Look, they're still in there. Remember at the All-Star break, we thought that they were going to fall back?
No, I had them in the playoffs.
Yes, you did.
I had them
you
in the playoffs.
Look at them there. The teams that are that's really in the...
Corbin Carroll's still killing it for them.
Oh, why not? Is he a Cy Young guy?
He's an outfielder.
I mean, no, who's their starter? There's Corbin. Is he their starter?
The
guy in Arizona, their frontline starter. No, the Carroll
Kelly.
guy. Yeah, that guy. I love that guy.
Merrill Kelly.
The guy you're talking about, he's going to be a 5-star. He's an up-and-coming superstar.
I think so.
Oh,
I think so.
Do you see him run? Do you see him when he goes after balls?
Yeah.
Oh, he looks like a gazelle. He's unbelievable. I'm going, wow. And I'm really glad.
They don't need, are you saying they don't need our buddy Dalton Varsho?
You know what? The Toronto Blue Jays have assisted them in getting into the playoffs. Gurriel's having a monster season. Season. We'll get to that in a minute, too, because all things Jays are coming. I'll take Gurriel's defense back in a minute right now.
I want to ask you one quick thing. Do you think the Chicago Cubs are making the playoffs?
Yes, I do. What a comeback. They're the absolute opposite of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Now, I always kind of had a sneaky feeling about the Cubs because their run differential all season was very good.
Excellent.
Yes.
You mentioned that before All-Star break.
I did.
Because I was going quality starts. You were saying run differential. You know?
Yeah, because the Cubs, they do allow runs, but they also score a lot of runs. They score a lot of runs.
You know?
I believe they're third in the National League in runs scored, just behind Atlanta and the Dodgers.
And I think they're fourth overall because I think Texas is in the top 4 too, isn't it? So they should be around there.
Yeah, they're around there.
Yeah.
3.5 games back of the Brewers. I think they're not going to make that, but I mean, one of those wild card spots should be theirs for the taking.
Another shout out we should give to the Cincinnati Reds. So now we've had 3 huge small market teams, one being the Reds, one being Baltimore, and one being Arizona, and they're all in battling for shots. I'm not
Yes.
saying Arizona is a small market really, but
And in terms of baseball, it is, and sports in general, I guess. But San Francisco, Arizona, Miami, Cincinnati, all in a virtual tie for that last wild card spot.
hence the reason we brought up the point about only allowed bringing up 2 guys at the break, because all these guys, you got to win with the team that you got there. This is amazing for baseball, because I thought baseball got off to a bit of a slow start this year. Maybe
I
people
agree.
weren't in, but now I'm running home just to check the standings, because that's why I'm checking the standings. But in any event, we got to get to right away because I got a draft to go to before you know it. But there's one thing we finally have to do with, and that's to talk about our beloved Toronto Blue Jays. So, Mr. Milani, I'm gonna push back right now on this defense thing. Okay, you say it's only 10%.
Yeah.
Well, those 10% losses that we got were because of what? Defense or running. So defense.
The base running is completely,
Okay, but I'm
different.
gonna try to
because
get it
the Blue Jays, I would say our losses are coming from our hitting discipline, hitting strategy. It's been awful this year
my
in our
God.
base running. That's cost us the most games this year, hands down.
Okay, I will put that in there. So you got things come in 3. The other 3 is our defense, which is not significant. It is according to the numbers I hear, because we're not making as many errors.
Yes. Well, I mean, and you look at the
Because Bichette can't get to no balls. Murrayfield can't get to no balls. And got balls go over to, what's his name, head in left field. Come on, we got a left fielder out there. A lot of balls
our
are
defense is kind of like, it's a little hit or miss. Like, you look at the numbers, Varsho is, I think, statistically like the 2nd or 3rd best outfielder in all the majors.
Oh, I know that. The numbers
Kiermaier's
are
like a
good.
top 10 outfielder.
Oh, defensively.
Yes.
Okay, I see that on paper, but why is it the one went over Kiermaier's head the other night? What was he thinking? Against the Nationals. Remember the one that went over? What was he thinking on that play? If you're supposed to be, that's the time. So what I agree that you maybe have your 10% is defense.
I think it's under that, to be honest. But
if that 10% shows up in those games when you're not hitting and you don't have regular guys playing the position all the time, what are you going to get? Defense is extremely important to me in baseball. I think it should be considered higher.
But if the Jays weren't making as many like mistakes in the batter's box or on the base paths, would we even be making a big deal about this? Probably not.
Oh, I'd still be making more about it too, because I'm a guy that said I think you should have an infield.
Yeah,
of
but
all
we'd
the time.
also be like hunting down the division title right now too.
If we were 500 against Boston, we'd be hunting down the division title. So let's just go there. My thing is, it's a lineup problem. They never have a steady lineup all the time. Guerrero's pissed off. He doesn't have enough of his buddies in the dugout.
Yeah.
Minor injuries are killing him. We've wrecked so many quality starts, and guys can't hit. But here's another thing I want to say, okay? Mr. Barrios, I'm on my couch. No, I wasn't on the couch. I'm sitting with 5 baseball guys. This is what I don't understand about baseball. I may do a podcast. I may watch a lot of games. I may have 4 screens. But I'm with you. Say, Andrew, I'm with you and a couple 4 guys. And we're sitting there. And remember the game when the guy with the dreads, he must have swung about 8 pitches. They had a great battle off, okay? And all of a sudden, frickin' Barrios takes something off the ball, and the guy's sitting on it, and he goes yard. Okay, so they go up. All of a sudden now, who do we have coming up here? The lefty that hit 2 home runs the game before. This is the Baltimore series I'm talking about, okay? Okay.
Boy.
The 2 home runs.
Series to forget.
Okay, 100%. So what does happen? I'm sitting there looking at the guy saying, Barrios better not throw this pitch because this guy's going to sit on it and rock. I didn't say rock, and it was a souvenir. Everybody was sitting there. 5 guys all looked at me and said, whoa, do you pick lottery numbers like that? I said, no, I watched the baseball game. And if I'm sitting in a lawn chair by a fire, watching the TV outside and going, buddy, don't throw this pitch. And he throws it and it goes yard. Oh, and did you see his post-game interview?
No.
I don't know if he was Jim Carrey or who's the other guy that was in Dumb or Dumber.
Oh, Jeff Daniels.
Okay, pick one of them. One of those two guys came to the microphone. I just went, oh, he won't get the microphone again. Number two on the other side is Kikuchi's leaving town.
Yeah.
He gone. Is this his last end of a contract this year?
I believe so.
He out of town. He ain't staying around town getting treated like this. Now, I would have chased Kikuchi out of town last year.
Oh, this year a different story.
Oh, whole new ball game.
No, he's got one year left after this.
Oh,
it was a 3-year deal.
Oh, good, because then he's going to be working. Because he's got 12 wins now. Does he have 12 wins?
He's 9-5.
Oh, I thought he had 10.
Wait, does it? They don't let him go deep usually.
Let him go 5. The one game that he got
there's
in
a lot
trouble,
of
let him
times
go
where
6.
he
got
agree.
a 6, and they let him go because he got out of the inning and let him go 6. Then the other times when it gets really tight, they didn't give him that extra batter, and he went 4 2/3. I think he's leading baseball and going 4 2/3.
It feels like it.
You know what I mean? And what do you respect the guy? Garcia comes in. Garcia's a little tired, gives up to hit the game. Okay, there's your loss. Next guy comes up, hits up a home run. Okay, Garcia, Kikuchi, you're off the books.
Yeah.
You know, and he has pitched 100? He's pitched more innings at this time than any time in the year before.
Mm-hmm.
I think, right?
Definitely. I mean, man, this team. So we should get into. So since our last show, the Jays lost a series to the Orioles. We won the first, lost the next two.
Should have won both.
Yeah, we lost a series to Cleveland.
Brutal.
Won the middle game there.
Oh.
We beat the Nationals. Should have been a sweep.
Should have been a complete sweep.
Then we beat the Rockies. Should have been a sweep.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, one of the games that we lost against the Nationals is once again, but guys don't play their position enough.
Yeah.
Okay? So, how you doing? So what happened is Murrayfield made a funny play because he was in left field. And the night later, he made a funny play because he was at second base. They weren't errors.
Right.
They weren't errors, but they were misplays.
Yeah. I think he should just be the everyday second baseman.
I think he should be the everyday left field.
No, statistically, his numbers at second. He's actually an above-average second baseman and below-average outfielder.
That's what I'm hearing, but how come every time I see him, because there's no chemistry then? Then when can we see
You got to build that chemistry.
So then let him stay there for 10 games. Is Merrifield
saying.
playing 10 games in a row at second base? No.
Doesn't feel like it.
No. So what I'm saying is this. I'm on the bandwagon for a lot of people saying this. I don't know ever see anyone get fired. John Schneider, I think you're going to be back next year because all you are is the puppet. Somebody's got to be saying other things behind you. Here's an interesting thing that's happened over the last few games, though. Did I not say in the last show that I was interesting that Mattingly never stood beside Schneider?
No, you haven't brought that up.
Okay, in a bunch of games, I started to be like, why isn't Mattingly standing beside Schneider if they're there? The last couple games, I've seen him back standing there because I said usually the guy that's going to be the Abe Brutus guy goes and stays in the clubhouse. It doesn't look like he's stabbing the manager in the back kind of deal. But I didn't see him there for a few times, so I thought there's something going on. I think John Schneider's a good man.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? I think he's over his head with this team.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Or is it maybe somebody telling him what to do?
I definitely think it's that. That's how it is. Just listening to the play-by-play, Buck on whoever on there, it sounds like for 90+% of major league teams, it's the guys upstairs making the calls.
Okay, they're saying take them out, take them in because they're analytic junkies.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm saying, where is the game at the time? Leave Kikuchi in the one extra batter. Okay, I seen it against Cleveland. Was it Cleveland, the game that we played, left the guy in for one extra at bat and they hit him? But so what? They had faith in the guy. You know, you got to give him, he's 4 2/3. So when you come to your contract now, and they come into the room and they say to Kikuchi, well, you know what? You only had this many quality starts, and we need 5 innings from you every time. And then you look at his resume, and 10 of them say 4 2/3.
Yeah.
If I'm his agent, I'm pissed.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
You're playing with the man's money, and you never give him a chance. So what do you think? What's the call? Are we making the playoffs or not? That's a huge pregnant pause. So I'm going to tell you where I'm going to jump back.
Our schedule is a little easier the next little bit.
We already blew 2 of those games. The other guys already won.
Who do we got coming up?
We got
Oakland,
Yankees today. We got Oakland. Then the
Oakland,
Yankees.
Kansas City,
Yankees.
Okay. But we also got Texas coming up. I know that.
Okay. This is what I'm saying. So let's look at it this way. Here's why I see it, because I'm going to go back to the stupid things I grew up on. Blue Jays, losses, 62. Rangers losses 60. So we play them 4 games at the Dome. When we win 3 out of 4, we jump them as long as we win all those games that we're supposed to, because Texas has got a tougher schedule. They got to go against Houston. they got a bunch of people they gotta deal with. You know what I mean?
As much as it pains me to say, I think we're going to miss the playoffs.
I still think we're going to do it too. But guess what? We also got 7 games against Tampa Bay.
That's not good.
Well, no,
especially knowing how we play in at the Trop.
Oh, okay, but I'm going to say this. Doesn't there that little statistic says over time you balance the schedule? Like if you lose so many, you win so many. So the Jays are on this side of the ledger so long.
But Tampa Bay's been a much better team. I have no reason to believe we're all of a sudden going to win games against them just because it balances.
500. We play 500 against Tampa Bay. We got to do that or play one game better than them.
I don't think there's been nothing this season to suggest that's going to be the case, though.
Because every time we have a little bit of run, we fall back. That seems to be the problem.
That seems to be the pattern. I don't expect that to change anytime.
Okay, so here's my take on it now,
soon.
and I want everyone to know this because this is what I seriously believe. I think the Toronto Blue Jays' biggest problem is the dressing room. Nobody's in control. Guys are pissed off. The manager's
is
not.
Is this Bo's team or Vlad's team?
Oh, how long have I been saying that? Okay, so whose team is it? So not only that, look at Guerrero hitting the double, change the double into a single. Yeah. Schneider had to walk up to the guy because everyone's seeing it. Like, what are you doing, buddy? Yeah. You know, don't throw freaking sunflower seeds while I'm having an interview. That's funny. But you didn't run a single. You double. We need every run we can get. We're one of the worst hitting teams in baseball. We're one of the lowest run scoring teams. And you're going to turn a double into a single? And you don't think there's a problem in the dressing room? You don't think that Kikuchi sits at the end of the bench when he gets those 4 2/3 innings because he's pitched? You don't think that Gozman looks back there when the guy made the 2 errors over his head and now he gives up 3? What about Rio since he's been back?
Yeah.
They've killed him defensively.
Yeah. So I mean, Gosman's still the worst, though.
What's that?
The way he, like the run support he's getting, it's disgusting.
And not only that, the defense. Look, what's Rio's freaking ERA? It's well under 4 since he's been back, but it would be even better. He gave up 5 runs the other day with 4 runs earned.
Let's see, Ryu's ERA 2.48.
See, that's what I'm saying.
With a whip of just a hair, like 1.03.
He's been amazing. He slipped in when Manoah went out of the way. He slipped in admirably.
Perfect timing.
And he's pitching just great. But you see some of the defense behind him? I say this. Why don't you do this, okay? Why is Biggio playing shortstop? I know it was because of the switches, and this guy went to back.
I don't like him.
And over here.
I don't mind him at third base once in a while.
Okay, I'll give him at third. Not in the middle infield. He's too big.
No.
Doesn't get down on balls, which just gives me another thing. Balls get by Biggio when he's on the infield. Why? Because he doesn't have that range and mobility. So it's not that you don't make errors. It's because you can't get to the ball. So, they don't make a lot of errors. Well, you don't get the balls. Jeter used to make a bag load of errors, but you know why? He was going after everything, knocking it down. Sometimes he didn't make the play.
Yeah.
So what are we going to say? We're going to say boo to the Toronto Blue Jays?
So I want to read off some numbers from Vladdy.
Oh.
So statistically, he's the worst first baseman defensively in MLB.
You're kidding.
As MLB rates that he is costing the Jays. He's cost the Jays 11 runs defensively.
Oh, easy.
He's looking sluggish at the plate. I mean, a lot of people have said, "Is this like the home run derby curse or whatever?"
No, he's hitting 13 of his last 14 games, bro.
And then I've been looking at his splits. There's a number of them that are very troubling. So when there's a runner at third, just get him in. He's batting 167 with an on base of 231, and he hasn't had an extra base hit with just a runner on third.
That's insane. But you know what the problem he is?
And then hold on. There's more.
You're gonna kill me.
Runners on first and second, 209 average, 261 OBP, 256 slugging.
Oh.
And then this is my favorite one. When he's leading off, he's batting 222 with a 271 on base and a 333 slugging.
You know what his problem is?
Try to do too much? Too many voices in his ear?
Yeah. But he's being a little bit of a prima donna, too. Remember 2 years ago, Toronto Blue Jays were the best first pitch hitting team in baseball.
Yep.
Were they guessing?
Which is what you should be for like a good slugging team.
Okay. Now, you take it out. Now, what happens is guys are throwing out of the zone, so guys are trying to figure out what pitches are going on. They're letting good pitches go by. And what Vladdy's doing, he's going back to those schools where I'm going to take a swing at that first pitch. Sometimes they're bad pitches, and he pops them up. He shouldn't be swinging at them. Look at Springer in the game yesterday.
Or he's chasing like 6 inches outside the zone.
He's not his dad. His dad was the best bad ball hitter and everything. I think that what happens is, I thought after that, you know what I would have done to Schneider when he didn't go first to second? I would have benched him right there.
Yeah.
Let's draw the line in the sand. Who is this going on here, Vladdy? This isn't your team. There's 24 other guys.
It looks when he's like running to first base, it looks like a lot of apathy out there, like not running out those balls. And like some of them, it's like, but if you ran that out, that'd be like a bang bang play. You might not make it, but you might.
And then sometimes he tries his ass off. So I don't know what's going on. I'm saying
I mean his batting numbers are like so low for a guy that was advertised coming into the league as like a high average hitter, like, a 300, 310, 320, maybe even a 330 guy competing for the batting title. What's he batting this year? Like not
280?
even
270?
Way less than that. Like 260, yeah.
I still say he's got a batting title in him. He's young. He can still do it.
I hope, but I mean, we're starting to see some...
I also believe that Guerrero will not be a career Blue Jay. I think Bichette could be. I think Bichette could be.
You're starting to turn me on that.
Yeah,
he's batting 266.
Yeah, I don't want to say that because I love Vladdy, but I just too many years of watching baseball, body language, stuff like that tells me we don't like what's going on. So for all the people that are out there from the Lantern Bay area, and I said I would say this, I appreciate what you guys are all saying. The bottom line is it gets back to one thing. If you don't have a regular lineup on a regular basis, it's going to show up why you're under. And the record against the American League East, even though the Yankees are the worst team in the division, is atrocious.
Yeah.
That's the killer. At the end of the season, the epilogue will say you can't win in your own division. They always show that one at MLB Network. You know that the Jays are the best interleague record, I think, or second?
Yeah, they're very good
interleague. They're like the first or second in baseball. But when you talk about the games you're supposed to win at home, which I'd say I'd like to go back to more games against the division instead more than away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you think that's enough of beating on the Toronto Blue Jays?
So there's a few more things I want to get to. These are a little bit more pleasant stats.
Okay, good. I knew you were going to bring them to the table because we want them to make playoffs. Some positivity.
2 years in a row, actually, believe it or not, Kirk is actually one of the best defensive catchers.
He hasn't played enough to impress me with those numbers.
I'm just saying he's like top 5 in terms of like runs saved. Jansen is actually mid, believe it or not.
He's not as good defensively either. He never throws the ball, but that's another story.
Brandon Belt. I think you owe this man an apology because of how well he's been playing. Come on.
No.
What? It is 369 on base. It is 834 OPS.
He gets
all the doubles.
Okay. How many times you see that Brandon Belt hit a double? Nothing happened. That's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
Okay. No, I don't think he'll be here next year.
He should be here next year.
I don't think so.
Whether left-handed, what? You're just gonna like find a good lefty bat off the scrap heap?
The only worse first baseman we have than Vladdy is Brandon Belt. Where else can you play him? Nowhere. He's not a very good first baseman.
He's better than Vlad.
I'll go 50-50. Remember last year I said I couldn't believe how Vladdy won Gold Glove?
Yeah.
I thought that was.
I couldn't believe it either.
I'm like stunned, and now it's coming out in the wash. Bottom line is this: Brandon Belt's a great professional. He's past his best before date. If he was 3 years younger, I'm going to say okay. He was huge in those great San Francisco days when they were winning World Series. Guy's a top-notch professional. I think that we don't need him. We got to develop other guys now and get him out of here. He's 34 years old, 35 years old.
I don't know. Good left-handed bats don't exactly grow on trees.
That's what they're trying to tell me, and I got in that argument with a number of people. Brandon Belt just rubs me the wrong way. It took him a long time to get his bat going this year, and you always said, well, veterans take a little bit longer. Well, maybe if he had got some of those hits in April and May, would have got us a couple more wins, and we'd be up there.
Well, his OPS is almost 850.
But he's hot in the second half. He's really hit well in the second half. I'll give him that. But he's a no-defense guy. And I hear if he's supposed to be so good in the dressing room, why do I think the problems are in the dressing room?
Well, okay, he's one man.
He's got to say some shit. I don't think Gozman says anything in the dressing room. I think he's a weed smoker.
Pitchers, like, they can do their own thing.
Agree, but guys like Shizer and Verlander over the years, guys like that, Kershaw, they always mouthed off in the deck. When they seen that thing's not going on, they mouthed off.
Sure.
Okay, who's going to mouth off on them? Barrios? I understood the pitch I watch on TV, but I don't listen to everything they say. But they say this about me. I threw the pitch home. Shut up. Don't let that guy in. And I like Barrios. I do. His last 2 starts have been just come on. Are you guessing when you're pitching?
I don't know.
It's pretty brutal.
One last thing I want to get to in baseball. So this comes from the Friday night game against the Rockies. Ansel Hernandez makes me want the robotic strike zone.
Why do you say that?
Oh, he missed some crucial calls, Cruz.
More than one. We were watching the game.
There was 3 big ones that were pointed out online. I wish I had the infographic.
Then one was against Springer, wasn't it?
Though there was one.
Who was it? And then
There
the
was
next
one
time.
at Jansen at bat, and then there was two.
The Jansen was
two
at bat because that took him out of his bat.
And then there was 2 Colorado at bats that were also like huge, like just completely changing the
metric.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I thought the pitching was scheduled too, but I do not want a robotic pitcher. I'm going to tell you one thing.
Robotic strike zone.
No, I don't want that either.
But don't we want to get the call correct?
No, I'm going to look at it this way. The other night when we were playing the Nationals, all of a sudden the umpire was calling that down and away strike. I thought, what the hell's going on there? Then Jay's guy came out, he called it the same. That's baseball. You know that for the rest of the game. Now, if he had called any other pitch out aside that, I'd have lost my shit. Because down and away, it was very close. It was very tight.
Right.
But he called that all night. That's one of the beauties of baseball.
Yeah, but not all the umps are like that.
What?
Not all the umps
So
are
you
like
got to
that.
know your
That's
ump.
the problem.
That's the problem with the...
Well, it's not even about know your ump because sometimes the call isn't even consistent. That's the problem.
Then you fire that guy.
These guys don't get fired, though. That's the problem.
They should be fired.
Angel Hernandez has been an umpire for how many years?
30?
25 years.
30.
He's been he started off as a National League umpire in 1998.
How come he got the American? Oh, no, they all switched.
Because they're all, now it's just MLB umpires, which makes sense because...
Yeah, because they're all doing everything, and I like to go back and forth back in the day. But I agree, there was some atrocious thing. But I'll take the umpire every day. That if he's going to call that down and away all day, then everybody.
That's not always the case, though. That's my point.
I agree. I'm just saying that I'm not for the robotic guy. I thought that his calling the other night was atrocious.
Even the Saturday night game. I don't think it was Angel, but it was another one, that umpire crew. Horrendous job with the strike zone.
Oh, I know. And when you see it too, like I'm watching the game, I can't deny what I saw. I'm just going, In any event, this show's been very long,
and
because
especially with the egos of these umpires. Like, come on,
take the egos out of the game and fire them. Do like they do in the NBA.
But these guys don't get fired. That's the
weird,
problem.
because it's a capitalist game.
That's the problem.
It should be like they do in the NBA. You go sit down. NFL, you go sit down. I guess
I would like that too, but I mean, maybe good umpires are hard to find. Maybe that's the moral of the story here.
Okay, so before we go, we got one final thing. This has been a long show. Andrew, it's been great talking to you. Before I go out the door, I just got to say this one more time. I'm going to my NFL football draft as soon as I leave here. We are 17 years into our fantasy football league. I was fortunate enough to have my first 3 picks, if you want to know who they were Tom Brady, Marshawn Lynch, Adrian Peterson, and Andre Johnson. Those are my first 4 picks ever in fantasy football. I want to give a huge shout out to the 9 guys that I'm in the Pheasant Run Football Week. You all know who you are. Pick, you're doing a great job. Seminuk, you're a con on the frickin' trades, but I love you. Kyle, stop it. You just know that the quarterback's going to get you. Aaron Rodgers is a fraud. Okay? Big Al, you do your thing. I hope you're there today. Are we going to see Mark there today? Because someone doesn't show up. Am I missing anybody? Waters, I know you're going to be there. I hope you guys had a good round on the golf course. And, of course, my oldest son, Zach, he will be there too. She'll be great. But my point is this. Fantasy football has become so insanely popular in the last 10 years that I think it's brought a new camaraderie to the game that everybody loves because we watch sports for camaraderie. Agreed?
Agreed.
But what's the real reason we're into fantasy football?
Win a little bit of extra cash.
So the moral of the story and the gospel for Cruz is all these things I say about competitive balance, and it's a beauty that we're in the league, and we all love the players, and we all stutter. I'm going to say I got the 4th overall pick. It looks like I'm taking Etienne from the Jacksonville because he's going to be my pick, and I got 5 in the first 21. I'm going to tell you if I better pick well, I'll be back in the competition. But for everybody out there doing fantasy football, remember this is like Christmas Day. You're looking for the right gift.
Yeah, my draft is tonight, too, and I'm very excited.
There you go. Wouldn't be better without it. So all the people there, the next time we're going to see you is Thursday night with our pregame NFL. Here we go. Get off the Detroit Lions bandwagon nonsense. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Sure.
We ran a little late today, but for all the people that are yelling out to Andrew and to me about listening to the show, give us a follow. Where do you find us, bro?
You'll hear that on the promo after.
By the way, I want to shout out to my producer, engineer who's sitting across from me. He's been doing amazing promos. He's keeping
I'm
this
not
up.
sure I'm an engineer, but
Well, he's
producer,
doing,
yes.
He's doing a very damn good job. I want to show it. Even I showed my wife the promo. She thought it was great. But on any note, I got to get out of here because I think my wife's waiting for me in the parking lot. I'm 20 minutes from my draft. And as usual, thanks for listening to The House That Happens. My name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
And you know what we do? We keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.